Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all the lovely, lovely people here in the Godjira server, and it goes beyond the Godjira server. I think we have a lot of people from different servers who are really kind of interested to hear about Degenheim and have popped in here specifically for this AMA. It's just an absolutely an amazing thing, and it's an honor to have everyone here. We have the hidden goat, the founder of Degenheim, Milan here today. Milan, go ahead and just give a little brief introduction about you and who you are, and then we're going to talk about the juicy, juicy alpha of Degenheim. How's it going, Milan?
Okay, so this time for formal introductions. Greetings, I'm Milan. I'm the founder of Degenheim. I've been in the space for quite some while. Some of the time I've spent as an observer, and some of the time I have spent as someone who was actually developing a project, which we've been currently doing for almost a year. And yeah, I've been working in different industries, mostly Web 2.0 based, but also with some Web 3.0 background, ranging from small to medium business technological solutions through multi-million government projects for digitalization of Europe, through anti-fraud crypto security projects up to the game industry, working mostly on titles ranging from 6 to 8 figures of recurring revenue. So that's like the very long, very short story.
Absolutely. And like, I definitely want to kind of, what you've been pointing out on is like a big problem in the space right now is that we have people who trying to do these big grand things and do like a game and they've never ever had like over $10,000 or $5,000 in their bank account at one time, and then all of a sudden they're just like, oh hey, we're minting this thing, get money into here. The main thing about you is that you've been doing this before, like you've been working on scalable like big time projects. You want to touch up a little bit about that, some of the stuff that you've built in the past?
From which area specifically?
From just any area. I'm just trying to like just show everybody like how,
Ah,
like
okay.
as a founder that you're just different, that you've been a part of everything. And so when you ask which area, it's a more of a bullish indicator because you're like, I've done a lot of stuff over across like a lot of things. So I just want you to
well,
talk a little bit more about it.
yeah. Well, let's take it chronologically. I grounded my first company, which was basically a small design and development studio, when I was already in university studying computer science. Basically providing IT and design solutions to small to medium businesses. Some of them were pretty like interesting. We actually created an e-commerce solution with an online game where you could actually play an integrated online game into an e-commerce business. And the more you played and the better you were at the game, the better prices and discounts you could claim. Or even there were some items which are vendor locked, which you only could purchase, for example, in person or via advancing in the game. But that we did like years and years ago. Later on, the crypto security project, that was actually a project that was grounded by some people who approached us due to the WannaCry 2 ransomware, basically ransacking institutions and demanding payments in crypto. One of their targets was a hospital in our country. And yeah, basically I was responsible for data processing and development of solutions that actually allowed you to visualize the flow of counterfeit money and money laundering in crypto in a visual form of, imagine something like a family tree, which you could forever expand in any direction, showing who sent whom which amounts of cryptocurrencies that were flagged as being counterfeit, and so on. So it's much more easy to track. That was actually a project that was meant to be supplied to government institutions. Later on, I transitioned into those government projects. The main reason is that the digitalization of Europe, and especially in my country, is in a extremely shitty state, and I wanted to contribute to that. So I was basically creating digital solutions and concepts and planning and a lot of like project management, etc. Um, for my country to make it more digitalized, more better, and basically more suitable for the current era, which is highly digital. For example, probably the most important, most interesting project was the last one I did, which was basically digitalization of how do you call it in English? I think of corpse examination in field by pathologists. So it was basically a system that allowed pathologists to cross-examine corpses that were found, and to basically like forward information to all the hospitals and the whole medical infrastructure in the country. And yeah, I did this while I was already, I think, working in the gaming industry, where we, like, most of the time we spend, most of the time was spent on the mobile gaming market, since that's the biggest market of them all. Gaming is a pretty huge market. It's basically bigger than like, I don't know, if you combine Hollywood, Bollywood, Netflix, and whatsoever that is cinematographic, then it's still smaller than gaming. And yeah, basically what we were doing there was scaling games to higher amounts of revenue by optimizing a lot of stuff, optimizing economies, optimizing the player experience, user acquisition, retention, and so on and so on and so on. Like there's a huge complexity behind it. Like, you wouldn't even imagine how, if you play mobile games, you will be very surprised at how much or how big are the amounts of data and how specific they are about you that the companies are collecting to basically improve on your gaming journey, to basically serve you a very tailored experience, so you actually spend the most amount of money in them. And yeah, parallel to that, I've been working also as a freelance game developer for quite some while. The very first game I actually developed was a project to finish my university studies. I basically created a game with a multi-level algorithm for disabled children. And to make the project different, I actually wanted to solve the problem of disabled children being left out. So instead of like focusing on one type of disability, I wanted to make a game that would allow any children with any disability play with other children with any other disability, and even with healthy kids, so that like everyone can get included. The whole game was basically created on the premise of not replacing the player but empowering it. So the algorithm was actually compensating accordingly to your disability. And basically I did the whole thing like a one-man army. So I studied a lot of stuff to create it, like case studies, medical papers, consulted it with doctors, etc., on how to properly compensate for disabilities. Then studied a lot of case studies, success stories from worldwide organizations, and based the game design, controls, graphics, etc., on it. Then created all of that. Also created some like music, animations, graphics, gameplay. Then developed it, and then like I even playtested it with kids. So like I'm very huge into game development, game publishing, everything around games, since like I've been playing games for my whole life. So it's basically like passion meets profession, which in my books is probably the optimal things to combine, because you just love what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that was a bit of a long answer I kind of pushed you to do, but like it's definitely, I want people to know kind of the layers of like what you've been through, and like just like how amazing your path is to come to this point. And I think it's definitely something that people need to know about. Currently we're in this a very weird meta where it's very hard to trust people, coming out here. Pixelmon kind of put us in several steps back and what the progression towards the proper, Web3 gaming is. And I think it's important for people to know about your past and all that good stuff, because, you're talking about someone with cyber. He doesn't have a past because he's 21 years old and he completely fucked over a lot of people. So fuck that guy. And we're doing things differently. Is kind of like the picture I'm trying to paint about Degenheim, and it's definitely something special that we got going on here. Um, I think that like one thing that I'd like for you, if you don't mind, is just going through kind of like that elevator pitch that we usually do for people when we're talking to them on a VC, and just talk about what Degenheim is all about, and kind of like why is this game slash this project, why is this different than most of other projects out there right now.
Oh, should I elaborate on that? Like, why is it different?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's just so many things that I know we tell people, other people that are like so different, just about like the game and what we're gonna
Mhm.
offer, and just kind of go through like the whole stages, like the PVE and all that good stuff, and I'll hop in here and
Ah,
there.
okay. Okay. Well, the main difference is that unlike a lot of other projects, we have a very different mentality. We're coming to the space with a build first mentality. Obviously, like we've been working on the game for almost a year. The project has been in active development since summer 2021, right? And yes, I might be asking like, why didn't you sell out something whatever in the fall of last year? And the main reason was that we want to do the project with integrity. Like we've seen what the market was going through. Um, that like there were a lot of projects promising games, and like either fully scamming people, rugging them, or like becoming slow rock pools, etc. And we wanted to bring something different to the space. We wanted to bring an approach where you show something tangible first, just like for example in the startup industry, right? Because like I also co-founded a technological cloud computing startup, right? And then there, when you want to ask for VC investments, you probably or usually have to have like an MVP that is released or has some traction, or in better cases revenue. And I think that is probably something that would be very beneficial for this space too, that some people actually bring some sort of proof before they ask for your investments. And hence why we basically went down this way. And yeah, but basically the very beginnings of the story of Degenheim begins over a year ago, when I was just only observing the space. I was just thinking and seeing that, like, okay, what is happening in the space, and just like I was considering possibilities of how to truly leverage the technology, and the technological possibilities of NFTs and cryptocurrency, and came to the conclusion that, like, okay, NFTs and cryptocurrency, they offer you decentralization, and talk about the concept of a quote unquote new concept of digital ownership. And I was like, the fuck, this is a new, right? Like, gamers have been owning stuff digitally for the last 20 years, right? But then I realized that actually, like, Web 2.0 digital ownership isn't true digital ownership. It is just temporary custody. Because I don't know if any one of you ever bought a League of Legends skin or CS:GO skin, or I don't know,
Oh
like
yeah.
had items in, I don't know, Diablo or World of Warcraft or whatsoever, right? The day you stopped playing the game, you basically lost everything. Okay, you can return to the game. For example, I played Smite for 9 years consecutively with some breaks, got thousands of gems there, tens of skins, but I don't play the game anymore because my friends stopped playing it, right? And and yeah, I basically don't have shit, right? Because everything is vendor locked in the game. And what I started thinking about is like, how about we actually bring some true utility to the space? And by true utility, I don't mean overpriced hoodies and shit like that. I mean like truly leveraging the technological possibilities of NFTs and crypto. And I immediately thought about like, okay, let's maybe create something where gamers are actually being empowered by uh, actually and truly 100% owning their items. So, for example, like imagine if any one of you ever played, I don't know, Diablo or something like World of Warcraft or whatever. Imagine your character being an NFT, your items being NFTs, your armor, your weapons, your mounts, your consumables, your abilities, your whatever the fuck you can imagine as NFTs. And you can actually do with them what you want. Like upgrade them, sell them on OpenSea, Kaching, or whatever fucking market you want. Equip them into battle to have like better stats and advantages in against your opponents, or no, sell them, destroy them even to shorten the supply, whatever, right? The choice is up to you. And I firmly believe that empowering gamers instead of taking power from them by vendor locking them, just what the standard is in the Web 2.0 space, is the way to go. Like, give players the power and let them enjoy the experience. And so, yeah, the wheels in my head started spinning. I reached out to people whom I know from the gaming industry. All of them are basically senior or expert level, meaning like 5 to 7 or even over a decade amounts of experience. Um, and we started talking. I also had the privilege of considering them as friends, which is always awesome. And yeah, we basically came to the conclusion that we helped a lot of games grow. So why don't we create something of our own? And then we started working. And yeah, basically we have a pretty stacked team. I think only 2 people in our team working on the production side are not above this threshold of experience. We have a very, very talented artist. His name is Daniel. He's been drawing for some very, very big names in the industry. His art was even recognized by Blizzard Entertainment at the GDC in San Francisco. As far as I heard, they were very interested in talking to him, possibly making an offer, but our former employer sadly didn't let him due to legal reasons, because obviously when you have an extremely talented artist and you're paying him shitty money, you want to keep him, so you don't want Blizzard to make him a good offer, because obviously you wouldn't be able to compete. And yeah, that is basically the very origin story of this. And how we intend to tackle the whole game side perspective of the project is that we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, right? We have an approach that is the most feasible approach to the team of our size and budget, right? Currently, the project is 100% self-funded. Most of that comes from my own my own money, due to the reason that I think that this should be the standard, that people should lead by example, and they should be putting money where their mouth is. We also had some VC investment offers, which all of them we politely denied, ranging from $250,000 up to $2 million, just due to the fact that they had some very shitty requirements that would basically make us a lot of money, make them a lot of money, and fuck up the players, which I and the team, we really refused to do so. Hence why we didn't agree to something like that. And yeah, we've been basically building something, in my opinion, that is quite remarkable and not seen before in the space, and is at the same time very feasible for us, because like we're a smaller operation, so we cannot go to the market and tell you like we will create the next AAA open world MMORPG World of Warcraft contender whatsoever, right? Because like that is absolutely not feasible. Hence why we sat down for quite an extensive amount of time, discussed it with some people who are very good experts in the industry, much better than we are, and discussed a lot of stuff on game design, and decided on basically creating a project that is gradually released and ever expanding. This means that first and foremost, we will release a PvE experience that would be a rogue light genre, very similar to Diablo or Hades, probably much more closer to Hades. For those of you who are not familiar with the game, go fucking play it. It's an absolute delight. Like it is. I rarely replay games, and I have like almost 100 run-throughs of the game. I think it's 97, and 97 times I ran through the game, and it's awesome. So huge inspiration for us, because also their game was a huge success, created by a smaller team on a, by their own words, minuscule budget. And what we intend to do is like do something very similar. Hence why we are heavily inspired, and upgrade or expand on that with the use of NFTs and the crypto technology. And this is just only the first stage. So we release a PvE roguelite game, which is very easy to develop, or the easiest to develop for a team of our size and budget. And not only develop, but also like playtest, soft launch, public launch, and then scale. On top of that, we can do live ops and gather a lot of data to properly balance the game and constantly be improving the game until we come to the next stage where we introduce PvP, because for proper PvP, you have to fulfill multiple premises. One of them being like a highly balanced game, other being a big enough player base so you have proper matchmaking, so people have a good player experience. And yeah, that is basically the second stage, where we introduce season-based PvP, where players can actually compete against each other to earn rewards in the form of NFTs and so on. Like imagine every single concept you can imagine that is successful from the Web 2.0 space, because we're not coming here to reinvent the wheel for the sake of reinventing the wheel. We're coming to the space with the mindset that we're using concepts from the Web 2.0 space, which have proven to work and to this day are proving to work, and creating stuff on top of that with the possibilities of the Web 3.0 space. So imagine any competitive season-based PvP game you played ever. That would be the second stage of our game, where you will actually be able to compete against each other, climb up the leaderboard, and at the end of the season, the best players will get rewarded. Why we want to do this is actually motivate players to enjoy the game and be competitive, because you probably know that, I don't know, if any one of you minted a one-of-one Godjira, you probably know that that thing might, for some people, be a very prized possession and possibly even generational wealth. Well, we want to give people the option to actually play for this. So imagine you will have the power to play and win this just by your sheer engagement and skill, and not RNG. And yeah, also on top of this, we will do live ops, constantly improve this, provide new events, new content, so that the player base keeps engaged. Everything of this are very familiar concepts from the free-to-play genre. And then on top of that, we want to slap a high-stakes, high-reward game mode, which will be a deathmatch mode, which will be basically arranged fights between people, where, for example, me and Zero Cool, we enter into a duel. He wagers in his NFT character with all his gear, etc., which are also NFTs. I wager in mine, we fight, and the winner takes it all. Yes, possibly people are asking, how is this not pay to win? Well, in its very core substance. Like, if, I don't know, Zero Cool were to purchase on OpenSea or wherever the most fucking legendary items, which would give him the statistical and tactical advantage, but he would be a shitty player and he would miss every single fucking skill shot in the game, and I would outplay him. He basically paid to lose, because suddenly all of his equipment belongs to me. So I made some pretty nice gains. And on top of that, we also know that there are people who don't have the time or the interest to become active players. So we also tend to, down the road, also incorporate idle gaming mechanics, because we have thorough experience with this. In the past, we have worked on a game which, with our help, became the number one downloaded iOS game in the whole US in its genre for a few consecutive months, which is very rare in the mobile gaming industry. So we also want to transfer this knowledge and experience from the Web 2.0 space into the Web 3.0 space, and basically bring some form of revolution to, in my opinion, kind of boring staking mechanisms. So instead of just like classical staking, you get to send your character on an adventure, and it might come back with some resources, some NFTs, or yield some other returns, or even come back empty-handed to actually implement some gamification to the process, that actually staking could also basically become fun. And yeah, that's probably the long story short. Ish.
Yeah. Ish. It's always a good journey to hear about it. Just the fact that you've not only played all these games for your entire life, you know, like what they've done well, you know, like what they've done wrong and all that good stuff, and then you're implementing it into the Web3 space. And that's something important that I feel like everyone like is trying to, like you were saying, is don't try to reinvent the wheel, but like take a different approach to it. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to do that, trying to do all these big grand things, and then they realize, oh shit, like we can't do this. Like this is not scalable. This is not feasible. This is not even possible. But like what you're doing here and like all this stuff, I have to say, every single thing of the if you're on the Twitter or you're on the game on the trailer on inside the Twitter, like every single bit of that is real in like how's game like that's gameplay. That's not like some blender or some like shit like that where they're like kind of trying to use some like already used assets and you're just like, oh cool, we can make it look like we're doing stuff. This is all real stuff, right, Milan?
Yep. Forgot to mention that, like, everything you see on our Twitter is basically in-engine playable footage. 90% of that is actually recorded personally by me, and most of that is actually months-long footage. Like, I in one folder, like, I'm currently always piling up new and new videos. I'm currently having like 210 videos of sheer gameplay, and the most of the footage you are actually seeing is like from January to March, so like months long. So like we're not coming to the space with a mindset like we're building, because I think like this phrase is probably the fourth most overused phrase in the space, just next to metaverse and other stuff, right? And we're trying to come with the mindset of already built. So what we are actually showing you either is in the game or has been in the game for quite some while.
Yeah, and that's like such an important thing that I feel like people just kind of skip over that whole thing. Something that I think is really bullish about the project that always gets me going is just the Alama Olympics.
Yeah.
Can you like just touch a little bit on that, because I think it's something that's like kind of goes like flies under the radar a bit, but I think it's
Oh
like
yeah.
something so beautiful and so awesome that you're already doing, and this is this is pre
Yeah.
mint and everything. So
Yeah. Well, we're not only trying to have an innovative approach to the game, but to the whole process itself, right? Because I know that the community is basically a big building block for the whole project, and and you. I hated the grind meta from the bottom of my heart. I think the grind meta was one of the biggest bullshit thing there was, and we as a team swore that we will like never incorporate anything like this into our project, and hence why we like right from the get go we wanted to make the whole journey very enjoyable. Hence why we actually created a mini game. It would be a browser based mini game, basically a hyper casual infinite runner, where which will be releasing early alpha today. You heard it here first. Like
hell yeah.
we've announced it quite some while ago, but we will be announcing releasing it today. And basically, what this will be is it is a pre-mint experience that instead of grinding your way into the project, so instead of like you could have snatched some codes on Twitter or basically get recommended by someone. Now we want to give all the power to you, so you can actually play for rewards. So like go in and play, and if you're good enough, boom, you get access to Discord. If you're good enough in a different challenge, boom, you might get just Degen listed or many other prizes, right? So instead of like making people hang out in our Discord and being forced to do so for 16 hours every day, we'd much rather have people who are hanging out there for genuine conversations, and spending their time there willingly. And instead of this whole bullshit, I don't know, mechanics that virtually just inflate the demand for a project, we just want to go the honest way and just like, yeah, want to reap some rewards? Have a game. Enjoy the whole process. And at the end of it, you will get rewarded. And yeah, that's basically another thing. Like we've seen games being delivered by some other projects, but basically, what other projects may have been delivering post mint, we want to deliver pre mint, just as a sign of like goodwill and capability. And like, hey, have this, enjoy the route.
Exactly, and I mean, I think everyone's right there with you. Is grind meta, and like when you're an NFT game coming out, and part of the ability to get the whitelist is playing games, it just like makes sense. It's like so surprising that no one's done this before, but also people don't have the team that like you have had and like have been able to build these kind of things before we ever mint. And I think that's really absolutely an incredible thing. And when you look at this game looks like on the same exact level of like quality as like any other game that you be playing on your mobile phone like all the time, or on your browser. And it's like the quality's there and it's incredible. And I think people kind of when you were talking about working in the mobile industry, people don't realize that the mobile industry is like enormous. People are sitting in line at the bank playing games on their phone and all that stuff, and it's like one of the best ways to branch out because it's like the most scalable and it's the most like incredibly high like number base. It's pretty amazing. So definitely cool on
Yeah,
you. I feel. Go
like,
ahead.
just to bring in some perspective, only the mobile gaming market in 2021 was 93 million big, right? So it's like not pennies, right? Just like there's some huge amounts of money there circulating, and it's just constantly growing. Like the compound annual growth of the market is basically, I think, around 12%. So it's just like the market is getting bigger and bigger every damn year. And with the, for example, like with the strike of COVID, it was like in the first few months of COVID, there were like 40 million new players just coming into the market, right? So it's just like it's this huge.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I see a lot of people in chat that were, kind of like saying how awesome it is that to have a mini game to be part of the whitelisting process, and how much of that is kind of a breath of fresh air, to the whole industry, because I think it's like super important. Make it fun, man. I mean, like, this is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be community driven and all this stuff, and the grind just doesn't feel community based. It just feels like unorganic, and want to bring back the organics to what we're doing. And it's just like one of those things. Like, it's like, like, I just love how you guys are doing it, like, properly, like exactly the right way. Oh, Shan's in here wants us to drop the gameplay trailer for the Godjira. Can we do that? Do you have the ability to do that?
I don't know. Do we want to do that from our Twitter, or
Well,
do we
no,
want to
I'm just
do
talking
that
about
from?
in here for like an exclusive thing, and then
Oh,
we're
in
gonna
here.
drop it for.
Okay. Well, if I don't know, probably you guys have it somewhere handy. Like, feel free to drop it. So you
Okay.
just like,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Hustler's gonna take care of
Hustler
it.
can drop it.
We'll do it special because Shan's up in here. I know that it's extremely late where he is right now, so we're
Okay.
definitely gonna do that. So, but yeah, we're gonna do a post, a tweet about it, but it's gonna be. I mean, I'm so bullish on it. The sound effects and everything. Make sure you have the sound on.
Yeah.
Hustler gonna
Yeah.
drop
Play
it.
that with sound,
Yes, for
definitely.
sure. I love how Shan walks up in here and derails us, but he's right. I mean, I'm the same way. I'm like sitting there itching to get this out because I know people are just gonna absolutely love it, and it's gonna be blow minds. But we're gonna tweet it out so everyone in the world is gonna be able to see it. But the main thing is we want to give special privilege to, like, partnerships, and especially Project Godjira is gonna be a big part of it. And I think now is a good time. While yes, I think you can post it now, Hustler. I think that's what he said. So yeah, the main thing that we're trying to do here at Degenheim that's different than other projects, and I'm not saying like that all projects, so don't, like, it's not, I'm not a Sith over here talking in absolutes, but what I'm trying to say is that, like, we are doing something differently, and like when we're trying to do these partnerships is more than just, hey guys, look, hey, cool, you got some whitelist spots, okay, cool, we got some, okay, exchange it, now fuck off. We want to do it differently. We want to be all about, like, working together and having allies and having alliances and like working together and doing something way bigger, than just like trading whitelist spots. We want integration. We want people to come into Degenheim and playing the game not just because they want to play a roguelike game or like a game like Diablo or Hades. That's not the main reason. We want people to have an emotional attachment to this game. And when I say that, is that if you're an NFT lover, this game is for NFT lovers by NFT lovers. So the whole team is big in the space. Going from like all the way from the top to the bottom, we're all about it, and we want to make this even more fun. So there's going to be Easter eggs, and we really haven't elaborated too much on this, but I think we could elaborate a little bit more since this is the Project Godjira one. It's the first partner AMA that we've done, and a lot of the things that we're going to be doing is full integration into the game, and not just like, oh cool, you've got a Jira, okay cool, like you can come out, like, with certain little like abilities, or you get a little special something with your NFT. We're talking about having potential bosses in the game with Jira. We're talking about special abilities with, like, that are got Jira based. We're talking about Easter eggs in the game. We're talking about NPCs in the game. And Hustler just posted the trailer here, so don't spam too much. Like, play that up. Make sure you put it full screen. Make sure you have sound on and all that good stuff, because it's gonna be sick. It is sick. So. And that's just like the kind of, and Milan, am I speaking out when I say that that's kind of the tip of the iceberg of what we have and what the capabilities are?
Yes. Basically, how what you have seen is just a small snippet of what it can do. Basically, how we thought about this integration, that we wanted to come to the space and do something nobody has done before. So imagine just like having an ultimate ability where you charge up, you transform into a huge Gojira, and you basically just like maul everyone and shoot laser beams out of your mouth and have like a special kit of Gojira specific abilities, right? And what actually Hustler said is quite true, that this is only like the tip of the iceberg, right? The possibilities by having an actual game and having an actual product are virtually endless, only limited by basically imagination, time, feasibility, and capabilities of the team, right? So imagine, like, I don't know if anyone played Doom, like, but the first of the new Dooms, like the last boss fight, you fought a huge demon which you could only see like chest up because he was so big. So imagine like having a, yeah, exactly, like King Rat, just like he sent, right? Imagine a boss fight where there is like a huge Gojira where you only see the top of it, which is like you have to fight it. Like, do we have that yet? No. Is that doable? Yes. If we want to, definitely, right? So the possibilities actually in the gaming world are virtually endless, and we can do so much crazy stuff that actually is so not only enjoyable but relatable to the people, that, like, yeah, we can do basically a lot of crazy shit. And I don't know, like, for example, some of you know we've been talking to cybercongs, and I've seen some, I don't know, tweets, for example, asking for a cybercong versus Gojira fight. And I'm gonna just throw it out. It's 50% already done in the game. So what are we waiting for, right?
Yeah. And that's like the thing is like when you're like working with a real like game developers and people who've been in the industry, like all these things that people talk about not being able to do and all this stuff is not true. Like you guys are actually developers who can make and sorry to sound cringe, but make dreams come true. Like the dream of having that battle inside of a game, and like that's what I'm that's what we're talking about. We can do amazing stuff. We could, for instance, like I've always said this one, like you enter a level and then Shan is standing there and you talk to Shan and you get a quest to go and fight the
Yep.
Godjira boss. And that's the kind of stuff that we're doing. And like we want people to be like, oh, you're playing the Godjira level, and like want people to play together or stream it inside of a Discord and showing people, like all about like what's going on, and people be have that emotional tie to it. Because I know that I've talked to Milan about this, and we both were in the same boat. Like we used to go to school and be like, oh my god, I gotta get back home so I could play Diablo. My Pindle bot's running. Oh my god, I gotta go to the cow level and do all this stuff. And like we want that emotional attachment, and the way that we could do this within the NFT space is have it for the NFT space by the NFT space. And that's what it's all about. And any of our partner projects have the ability to have this kind of like integration in. And it's something that's going to be like, absolutely like it's going to be so much fun because I always talk about like I said this in the other day is that PvPers, big PvPers say fuck the PvEers and then vice versa. But like with this, I'm actually going to come out and be a PvPer that's going to say that I would like to play the PvE because of this aspect of it. And I was so bullish and so all about this with Milan and everybody like talking about this aspect of it and making this is the reason why people want to keep coming back and replaying these games, replaying these levels and all that good stuff. Because if you're a holder of the Cyberkongs or a Project Godjira or a Llamaverse or Gas or whatever, you're gonna come back and you're gonna be potentially having special benefits to you owning that NFT as well as having an emotional attachment and wanting to play the game. So like, that's all I got to say about that. I'm super bullish on it. I can't wait. I didn't even know that fight that you were just talking about is 50% done. That's the kind of shit that is going on behind the scenes. Everybody's working daily. Like Milan is like we're convinced Hustler, Miso, myself are convinced that Milan programmed a bot that's like so that he doesn't have to sleep and he works all the time. Neither can confirm nor deny this, but we're pretty much yeah, we yeah, exactly.
I have zero bot development skills, so I wish I had these capabilities, but yeah, sadly no. Haven't
um
found a way to outsource sleep yet.
Exactly. So, I don't know. I feel like I could ask you some more questions to kind of probe you to get some more good alpha out there and stuff, but maybe we should start bringing some people up. We have 20 hands
Yeah.
up. We're over 200 people in this. It's pretty incredible for over 200 on a Discord on a Monday. Have you Discord just stages up here. So I'm gonna start bringing some people up. Hustler, Miso, myself, and other people from Degenheim are keeping an eye on people in the chat and seeing who's bringing good energy. I will be personally giving away some of my Jira token. Like I said, the reason why I'm doing that not just to try to get people to come in here, but because you're going to use your Jira token to be able to buy the OG spots, and there will eventually be even just Degen list spots that will be on the marketplace for people to buy. So I want to make sure people have the ability to do that for the others out there that can't earn as much as myself. I've been stockpiling some. We're gonna have Discord invites. I guess I could probably just go ahead and drop like a fatty Discord invite now that we've kind of gotten through like the bulk of it. We could talk for hours and hours because Milan and myself could literally take up the rest of the day until he has to go to sleep. But we're not going to. I definitely would prefer to have people get up on stage and actually be able to, speak to Milan and myself and the Degenheim team and ask your questions. Even if some of this stuff was answered, feel free to ask any questions. Milan is, he's definitely here for you guys. That's the main thing. He's here for you, and he's here for his people, and even as going as far as working for Milan as in the capacity that I have. I have to say the testament to why he's such a great boss and whatnot is he told me straight up when I had COVID he was gonna ban me from the Degenheim server if I didn't stop like answering messages and stuff like that. And same thing was happening in Godjira. I was still working in Godjira, and they were just like, dude, just get better. So it's a testament to say like the founders that truly care about people, the people that work for them. And I know it sounds funny to ban me from the server, but it was also being like, dude, just get better. He just wanted me to rest. So I appreciate that, and he's here for you guys. So let's bring some people up here. I'm gonna get a invite link because I'm not sure if Hustler can put one in chat because our security's been a bit higher recently. So I'm gonna drop one for anyone that is not in here. Here you go. And this is being recorded for everyone out there. Let's get into the question aspect of the thing.
I just saw like Hustler being timed out for 15 minutes for posting Discord server invites.
Yeah, security is heightened in here, for sure. I made sure I talked to I talked to Alex before this and told him I was like, I'm sick of getting rugged, man. Can you help me out? And so he was just like, you whitelisted me, so that's why I'm able to post that. I will say that I got rugged 2 different times when I was trying to announce this AMA. It banned me. It like basically put me into a quarantine role when I posted and at everyone, and then it like went through this whole process of I had to get out of quarantine, and then I had to be able to post again and do all this stuff, and everyone was messaging me. He was like, "What happened? You're in quarantine. You're rolling." And I was like, "Everything's fine. I'm not hacked. It's all good." So let's go ahead and start bringing some people up on stage here. It's an amazing showing. One person I'm gonna 100% bring up here is Purple Fire Ninja NFT. He's a huge supporter, as always, on Twitter, on the socials, hyping up Degenheim and all that good stuff. I want to bring him up here, let him ask a question first and foremost. And yeah, we'll roll through it. How's it going, buddy?
Hey man, how you guys doing?
Incredible. How about you?
I'm doing good. I wanted to come up and, of course, say thank you guys for everything you guys are working on, because I think this is really how projects should be developed from now on. Like, build first and then kind of launch, get the following, and always kind of have that build first aspect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my question is, I heard Milan talk about how he kind of wants to get people who don't really have the time to play or aren't as interested still invested with like staking or idle mechanics. And I was just wondering if he could go into more detail about that. And then also the skill-based aspect of the game, how it's not necessarily pay to win. If that would require kind of skill-based matchmaking so that, you're not playing against somebody who's just way better than you when you don't really have, like when you haven't been playing a lot and you're not as good, you're not necessarily up against somebody who's been, grinding and they're just way better than you.
Well, to tackle the first one, the idle gaming aspect, basically idle games have been, to some extent, very popular in the mobile gaming industry. Some of them, I don't know, imagine Adventure Capitalist, Adventure Communist, Idle Coffee Corp, etc., stuff like that. those games basically play themselves while you are being offline. The motivation to actually play them actively is that you can only optimize the numbers it generates. And we want to use the former of this equation, which would allow you, for example, just like imagine a scenario. You have to go to work for 8 hours, and you just, I don't know, you wake up, you send your character on an adventure, you see that it's on an adventure for 5.5 hours. So, I don't know, you get your lunch, whatever, you take a shit at your job, and you send it on another adventure. And basically, you complete 2 adventures while being at work, and then you come home and send it on another adventure, or you can actively play the game, right? So you can reap the most amount of benefits. That is something that we would like to incorporate to like give you the possibilities to yield some returns without spending that much time playing the game by not being an active player. And for the second one, there's actually a lot of things that come to play when it comes to a good PvP experience. First and foremost, it's a very well balanced game. And on balancing games, you have to work constantly. So, for example, like every competitive game you see has dedicated teams that are just responsible for game balancing and live ops, which is like doing a shit ton of game data analytics, processing the data, discussing with game designers, and tinkering around, just like, I don't know, modifying champions in League of Legends and whatsoever, like fine tuning their damage, their health, some items, and so on. And this you have to do constantly. And there is only one pillar of the equation. The second one is basically matchmaking, which you already mentioned. But to have proper matchmaking, you first and foremost have to have a good amount of quantitative data and also qualitative data too. And for this, you have to have a good size of a player base. If your player base is too little, your quantitative data is suffering a lot. And hence why your matchmaking algorithms, even if they would be very, very good, wouldn't be performing optimally. And what would happen, right? New players might get matched with super whales or people who have been grinding the game as fuck, right? What this actually does is that, okay, the people who are grinding the game as fuck will be pop stomping everyone, and suddenly there is no challenge in the game, so they don't feel excited and challenged enough, and boom, your churn rate among the experienced players goes up. And then you have the new players who will get into the game, lose 8 out of 10 games, and they'll be like, fuck this experience, like, fuck the game, and fuck this shit, fuck that shit, I'm out, right? I'm not enjoying my time here, fuck that, right? And boom, suddenly your churn rates in the new players are also high. So you're like, you will have to have multiple things to actually come to a viable PvP model. Hence also the discussion why we want to implement it later down the road, once the player base has grown, once we have a lot of data to actually analyze and go through, to properly optimize and balance the game regarding its economy, regarding gameplay mechanics, numbers, everything basically there. So that already when we start with the PvP, obviously the experience won't be optimal, but we want it to be as optimal as possible.
Okay, that sounds good. Thanks for answering, and I'm gonna let some other people come up and ask questions. Thanks you guys
for the question.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming up here. I had to bring you up here because you're the man. I appreciate you and all the different servers and everything like that. You're a good member of the Web3 community. So for that, I appreciate you. Purple.
Thanks, man. Always supporting you, man. Everything you do.
I appreciate it to the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Sefterium, how's it going, brother? Go ahead, ask your question.
Hey, I'm good. Questions. Good. How's it going? Okay, I have 4 questions, if I may. The first one, so Degenheim NFTs will obviously be graded by rarity. Will high rarity have any impact on your character's power? Because it may make some sense if it happens in PvE but not PvP.
Yes and no. We don't want to go a route that is similar to MOBAs where you have a champion per se, right? Because imagine, like, if every trait was responsible for some stats, then imagine that you just mint a very unfortunate combination of items. They might be even in high rarity, but they're an unfortunate combination, and suddenly they're very unviable for gameplay. So yes, the rarity will come into play, but we are working towards a system that is as modular as possible. So just imagine that you, for example, you have your character, and you kit it out with abilities, you kit it out with items, weapons, etc., to suit your playstyle as much as possible. So you can actually create your own mini meta, right, which you are playing and which suits you, which also helps a huge amount to replayability because it offers a lot of possibilities to the game. So yes, it will have some carryover, but it will not be a carryover that is strictly bound to the NFT you will have. How we plan to implement this, if I just may, is that imagine that you, for example, mint an NFT from our collection. The reason to have a more valuable NFT is that we intend to provide multiplicative value to the people who are supporting us. So that imagine you mint an NFT, and later on down the road, you, for being a holder of the NFT, you might get a starter pack chest drop, right, which will contain some items to give you a head start in the game. And the rarity of the chest might be very closely correlated to the rarity of your NFT. So the rarer your NFT, the rarer the chest, the higher the chances of you rolling higher rarity items. So suddenly, your first NFT basically multiplied into multiple.
Oh, I see. How about playstyle?
What
Does rarity have any impact on playstyle?
Absolutely, as it should, right? Like what is the point of rarity of items if it actually does nothing, right? So I think if you have a legendary weapon, it probably should be better than a common one or a rare one, right?
I see. So my second question is that you mentioned in another AMA that you will have both PvE and PvP.
Mm-hmm.
I'm personally more of a PvE guy. I don't like PvP. Do you have to grind PvP to make any progress in PvP or not?
No. We want to make it so that anyone can enjoy the game in any manner. Like if you're a diehard PvP player and you don't like the PvE experience, so no, then fuck it. Go straight to PvP. If you're a diehard PvE player who, I don't know, if you, for example, played Hades and enjoyed the shit out of the game, then like feel free, like spend 100 hours or 50 hours or 40 hours in the game just by playing PvE. It should be enjoyable by itself.
Nice. My third question is, will it be a game will you'll have to play a certain amount of time per day, do daily tasks, etc., or will there be a cap of what you can do daily?
No, I don't want to implement these mechanics that are capping you because I will tell you, they're awesome for monetizing games. They're super fucking awesome for that, but I hate them from my fucking heart. Like I would much rather have people enjoy the game as much as possible, keep the game alive, and monetize it in different ways. Because like the Web 3.0 space actually allows you for monetization that Web 2.0 doesn't, right? And in Web 2.0 to monetize players, you would have to have a 100% enclosed and vendor locked economy, which is basically the standard, right? And even, for example, in the free to play genre, which has been dominating the gaming space for quite some time, right? 98 to 99% of your players never purchase anything. So those you monetize on ads and something like this. And the rest, 1 to 2%, basically create your in-app purchases, and from that only 10% are the whales who basically are responsible for 90% of your revenue. So basically 90% of your revenue comes from 0.1 to 0.2% of your player base, right? And hence why you gatekeep a lot of stuff by making people purchase stuff, making people watch ads, etc. But I would not really like to go this way. I would much rather go the way that play as much as you want, and the more you play, the better the benefits you yield.
After you launch the game, you do not play to monetize it, only get revenues from royalties in NFT trade.
Not exclusively, because in my opinion, for a successful project, you want to provide as many reasonable streams of revenue as possible. So there are a lot of ways to actually monetize a gaming project, right? And especially in the NFT space, because like we can release the initial collection, right, and then we can release armor, weapons. On top of that, we can release, I don't know, amulets, pets, mounts, whatsoever, right? Whatever makes sense to the game, and it won't be just like pushing out a new mindless collection only for like, let's make more money, right? It's actually doing that for the people. But you can do this also in different ways, right? You can, for example, by providing people value, because for example someone supported us early, we could just like, okay, let's give you a free mint for the future collections, right? It might be a mint for everyone, for players actually coming to the space, since then we want to make the game publicly accessible for everyone, just like a free to play game. But for example, if you're a holder, okay, mint is for free. And yeah, you can monetize that on secondary sales as well, because imagine you have a ecosystem where people are actually trying out different metas, and suddenly you find out that for the type of character you are playing, there's a set of meta items which you don't have, so suddenly you want to purchase them on OpenSea, and then you can basically have a high circulation of items, which might lead to high secondary sale volumes, also due to sheer high quantity of items, and suddenly you have a very nice stream of revenue, right? And you can monetize games in many different ways. So yeah, definitely we are looking towards different streams of revenue to the game, because like obviously you need the money to grow the game, to develop it further, and to scale it to the maximum potential.
Makes sense. And my last question is, so you just said that it will eventually become a free-to-play game. How do you plan to keep new players active? So basically people who do not own Degenheim NFTs and do not plan to buy one.
Well,
Because
by
there's going
actually
to be a gap, right? Anyway, like, even if it's small or big, how do you plan to, what are your thoughts on the balance between satisfying your Genesis holders and attracting new players?
Well, that's actually not a very good question, and not a hard one, because this was actually the main part of my job at our former employer. This was basically, I was optimizing the onboarding part of players, because in the mobile gaming market, the survivability of games is basically judged by the retention of the players post install on day one, and I think 4, 7, 14, 21, and 30. And you have to hit some benchmarks, otherwise you see some red flags that your game might be slowly dying, right, or underperforming. And I was basically responsible to create a optimized experience for players, so that you actually become an active player and you stay with the game. So I intend to use what I have been doing in the Web 2.0 space for, I don't know, 8-figure games, and do it for our game, right? And basically it's by providing you a experience combined with a lot of psychology and good game design and progression models that keeps you going forward and forward, which keeps you in the gameplay loop, and suddenly you have progressed such an amount in the game that you are already heavily invested and feel some commitment, and you can see yourself catching up on some other players, for example, and suddenly you always see the next milestone, the next step to go towards, to progress more and more and more. So it's not really reinventing the wheel. It's basically using what games have been doing for years in the Web 2.0 space and just applying it here.
I see. Okay, I won't I won't be asking more questions, because
No, they're good.
Thank you
They're
for
good.
your answers. Yeah.
Thank you. By the way,
Appreciate
you have such a soothing voice. Like it's such a pleasure to like listen to it. It's so awesome.
Thank you.
I envy you. Like I would really like to have such a voice.
There's nothing to envy, but thank you.
Awesome. We got someone else
Good.
up here. We actually have a Genesis holder up here. Mafia Boss, how's it going, brother? How you doing today?
Hello. Yo, what's up? It's Mafia. I just want. I'm I heard earlier that the the game is more on a skill base,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm actually a gamer myself. Usually play PvP games. I'm just curious about the how do you balance the PvP? Do you have such? Is there a do you do capping? You cap things like if PvP level and skill have cap, like everyone is like everyone's level is the same. So in PvP, there's no there's no overpower like his level like this. Like everyone's
Mm-hmm.
level 20, even if
Oh,
there
you
is
mean like
one.
leveling the playing field for
Yeah,
everyone,
yeah,
right? So,
for the
mhm, mhm.
PvP. Yeah.
Well, you can do that. There are actually multiple ways of balancing this, right? It's one thing to have like balanced items, so that, for example, like if you compare a legendary item to a, I don't know, rare item, like the legendary one should be better, but the disparity between the items shouldn't be so big that suddenly one character is snowballing the other one for the whole fucking match, because obviously that is no fun, right? You have little comeback possibilities, but um, you want to balance this on multiple levels. One is balancing game mechanics and items and stats and etc. So do like just by raw mathematics, it has some good level of balance, and the other one is basically matchmaking, right? You have to have a shit ton of data to actually analyze this to properly matchmake people, and you also have to have a high quantity of people, because if the quantity of people is low, you have to sacrifice on matchmaking attributes to get people actually matched. Because, like, imagine if the player base is low and you want to get matched properly, you might wait, I don't know, 10 minutes for a match, and nobody fucking likes that, right? So you have to have a huge player base to have the data so you can get matched constantly. And it's actually by tinkering with the algorithm constantly, like this is what live ops is for. It's actually basically that you and your team, you sit down on your asses, you monitor all the big data you are harvesting, evaluate it with high quality personnel, and they just tinker around with the numbers until you see constant and iterative improvements on the matchmaking system.
Oh. How about do, do you implement a active skill like dodge in the game? Because I heard earlier about skill level because or is
Or you mean
dodge
like
just
you dash
passive?
away so you don't get hit by an ability?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we have multiple of these. I think like we have at least two dashes. One of them is like just short, low cooldown dash. A second one is like a longer dash that you like wind up and do damage. And we also have other abilities, for example, like blink, that just like instantly teleports you to a different location, and some more. I'm currently working on some rather interesting mobility abilities, because like I love abilities that give you some amounts of mobility, and I usually tend to get very creative. So yeah,
Uh,
definitely, like we want you to have the possibility that, like, for example, if you want a highly mobile character, just like create a character that like every ability you put in is a mobility ability, so you like move fast as fuck boy, right, around the map, and you just basically dodge everyone and be like a high damage glass cannon or whatever you want, right? So definitely mobility abilities have been, I think, actually the two dashes were the very first two abilities that I created in the game. So yes, there are mobility abilities.
Are you
how about the skill?
Mafia boss? A quick question though. Are you have you played Lost Ark?
No, I used to play Guild Wars 2, if you
Okay.
guys know that game.
Yes,
Yeah, I know
absolutely.
that, but I never played it.
I wasn't sure if you
Yeah.
were referencing because in Lost Ark everybody has kind of like a quote unquote wake up ability or a role that like you get to use, but then it goes like on cooldown, but everybody gets it. It's not like a class specific thing. That's what I was just curious if you were potentially like referring to that, because that's definitely something that is like an interesting aspect of it. And I played Lost Ark for a bit, and that's a newer game of that of like an MMORPG style. But
Yeah. Yeah, I think that should be there because like mobility abilities are very good, especially for this, that because you can time it to actually you can use them offensively, defensively, um, and it just it also brings up the level of APM, which is actions per minute, and you
Yeah.
usually want to be within the range of actions per minute for the game to be not too complex or not too boring. So yes, definitely there.
How about the skills? Do you have cap in the skills? Like in each game, can you change the skill? Like you have a set of skill like 10 only, or you have every skill you can use?
We are rather looking towards a classless system where you should be able to get yourself around. Hopefully, we will manage to achieve the vision we have, because I want people to have as much freedom as possible. And yeah, you should be able to change stuff around. So I don't know, you go for one run, you take these abilities and these items, and you just find out like, I don't like this shit. Like I'm just not vibing with this build. So I don't know, you throw in two abilities out, one in, and yeah, you change around, and suddenly you're like, this is getting somewhere, and you basically replay it. To find what suits your playstyle the best.
That's all. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for the
Any
questions.
any other questions, Mafia Boss? Feel free.
No, Marn.
Awesome.
It's all good. Okay,
Awesome.
thanks.
Thank you so much for coming up here. Really appreciate you, brother. Have a good rest of your day, evening, or whatever.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
Bounder. I see a gas fam up here. I had to bring you up there with that your gas PFP. So let's hear about it.
Yeah, thanks for being here and asking the question. I heard earlier that the vision of the Degenheim project is to build first and deliver first and all the stuff. And I was just wondering how the project is going to finance all of the developing aspects and the people that are taking part in the project and all the stuff, you know.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
that was
as I
very
mentioned,
weird.
currently it's 100% self-funded. We also
Mhm.
want to use the proceedings of the mint because we're probably not releasing the game before minting, just for the fact that I think it is more feasible at this stage of the project to actually, because we have something tangible, to get to the minting process later down the road and use the proceedings of the mint to actually hire additional people, specifically definitely up the staff on blockchain development, maybe on 3D people, especially animators. And who I am looking towards the most are two of my dear friends from the gaming industry. One is a very, very experienced game and economy designer currently working for a 8-figure studio in Scandinavia. And one is our former colleague who's a user acquisition expert who left the company, grounded his own agency, and is currently maintaining a 8-figure dollar user acquisition ad spend portfolio. And those are like very renowned experts in the industry, which I would like to have on the team. But I also firmly believe in leading by example, and I want people who are working on the project with us to actually be shareholders. So basically, everyone on the core team is a shareholder. Even if you join the team way late down the road, I offered people shares just for the sake that I mean business. I am very honest, and I want to feel people that we are building something that is ours, not something that is mine, right? So it is a combination of ways of how to finance that. But even if the question came out and it comes out in AMAs that what if there is no successful mint and whatsoever, then we even might be, for example, looking into VC investments because like there's a lot of money being poured into gaming, especially Web 3.0 gaming. And if the terms were reasonable, that is also a way to finance the project moving on. And later on, it's obviously in-game monetization, secondary sales, and much more.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for the answer. I'm super bullish after all this
Thank you.
AMAs so far.
Awesome.
And yeah, especially the connections in the gaming industry and your vision to build this game in the spaces. I like everything of it, to be honest. Yeah.
Very happy to hear that.
Thank you very much.
I think it goes kind of like a little bit unnoticed because just like this, how big of gamers some of the people on the team are is like actually such a big deal to me. And like when I was talking to Milan the very first time, and we were chatting about it, and just like all the connections, I was like, oh, what about this? The cow level? Oh, he knew about it. World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King. Oh, he knew about it. It's like, wow, we've both been in this, and we've observed not only the Web3 space for a long time, we've also been observing the gaming industry for the last 20 years. I mean, we're not super young, but we're not super old or anything like that. I'm 35, so like I've been around as far as the gaming goes, and I think it's important that we're gamers ourselves at heart, and that's what shows you the passion of like what's going on with the team, and I think it's very important for sure. So thank you for coming up for your question. I appreciate you. If you have anything else, go ahead.
No, that's it. Thanks for getting me up on the stage. Have a great day.
Absolutely, you as well. All right, here we go. We got an amazing member of the Degenheim community right here. He's part of the family. Madara, how you doing, brother?
First of all, I love the introduction, by the way.
Huge flex.
I'm gonna get you up here. I'm gonna shout you out. I see all the names. I hang out in Degenheim chat, and I see everybody. And you definitely come to the AMAs, and you're just a really awesome member. And like, I think that people like you and other members, like a lot of the people that are in the crowd right here, I'm seeing so many names, and I just think that like, first and foremost, like as us up here is like, we just want to thank you like so much because like we're nothing. Like Degenheim is not Degenheim without the community. Community is the foundation. If the foundation doesn't exist, then everything topples down. And so I just want to say to you and to all the amazing people out there in the crowd right now that we appreciate you so much, and we can't do what we're doing and we're building because it's a we. It's not a Milan's building something. It's not me, Milan, Zero Cool, Miso, and Hustler building. It's we because we're all in this together, and that's like an important thing. So added a little bit of an extra, gave you a little bonus introduction there, but go ahead with your question.
No, I love that because first of all, yes, it's the community, but it's also the team. So I also want to give a big shout out to you guys, the entire team, Milan, everyone. You guys are doing the best. That's why I love coming to the AMAs because they're always fun. When Milan is talking, it's always fun. And when you're
Milan's
talking,
strawberry
I'm just laughing
costume
all the time.
is getting redder as you butter his biscuit there. Because I just assume that the first time I meet Milan, he's gonna be in that strawberry costume. I'm gonna be hella disappointed if he's not. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, I'm gonna wear only that.
It's gonna be in the
Milan,
game.
you better watch it, man. I'm gonna steal the costume, by the way. I love it.
It's like the
No, he
the
won't.
invisibility cloak. When he puts that on, he can do anything. He's ultra
Yeah,
powerful.
but it's quite the opposite. It's the visibility cloak because like it's the number one thing.
Yeah.
If anyone loses you in a huge event, it's so easy to find you. Like
Absolutely.
it comes with utility.
Oh my goodness.
What I'm saying. Oh my god.
All right.
So essentially, yeah, thank you. So essentially, I just had two technical questions, but I think they could just get answered along the way. But I only have a small question for now. What can we expect from this collaboration between you guys and Godjira? Because can we expect to see any form of support from Godjira in the game? Like when you guys had an AMA with Asian Mint, they got an Asian Mint shield. Or can we get a Godjira armor, maybe a sword, maybe they're a final boss?
Dude, have you looked in the chat? Like I think Hustler dropped the video there. It might be the answer to your question.
Oh, that was like I was kind of showering and soap was kind of in my eyes, so I didn't hear or see you guys for a little bit. That's how hardcore I am. I didn't turn off when I was in the shower.
The video's been posted. I just posted a link of it. Shan actually leaked it because he was so excited about the integration video. Yeah.
Oh yeah, hold on, just saw it. That was pretty cool.
but like
my
the
bad.
main thing I have to say, no, anyone's bad. It's all good. Chat's been flying off. People have been excited. That's just the tip of the iceberg, though. Like I have to say, there's just gonna be so many little nods, and if you're in the gaming industry, when I say Easter eggs, is those little things is, in my opinion, is what makes certain games great. Like the little things. And like when you look past those things, you kind of like are missing out on the real true like organic feel and like the real true beauty of gaming. And there's going to be so many Easter eggs across like all different partners and even other more than just partners. We're even going to do nods to some really good people that are in the industry, people that are true builders and people that have been, here for the right reason. As I call them, the good guys. I know it's not the most creative name, but the good guys in the industry. And like we're going to be doing nods all across the entire game. So that trailer is kind of just the tip of the iceberg of what's the capability of this team. We haven't fully said what we're going to do, but all we're going to do is just do like it's going to be for you guys. It's going to be all for you guys. It's going to be for the gamers, for the NFT space, and you're going to love it. So, yeah.
Well, that's just amazing, and you guys make me even more excited every time you guys talk about it.
Well, we get more excited every time we do this. I swear, because like I can hear it in Milan's voice, and like I can hear it just way we're talking, and like sometimes it's like so cringe to be like, oh yeah, you're part of the team. Of course you're bullish. It's just like the thing is you don't join a team unless you're bullish. And for me, with certain projects, like I say no, and this is not like a brag or anything. It's just I say no to a lot of projects because it's like if you work really hard and put all your time and effort into a shitty project, then you've wasted several months of your life. So like I've been very adamant to make sure that we are going to be like, only doing stuff that is super bullish. It took me a couple calls, and like I said, we did a 4.5 hour long call with Milan, and it was like Hustler was there and Miso was there, but we were just like nerding out the entire time. And it took a long time, and every single time I hear Milan speak, and even just the team, in general, from the advisors to the mods to the community managers to everything, I'm just so bullish on this, and I'm just ultra bullish on the community. It's like actually ridiculous because they're doing something along the lines of what Godjira did: is built a family first. When you build a family first, then you can just do anything, and that's like the beauty of it. So, if you have any more questions, go ahead with them. But it's all good that you missed the trailer. It's there. It's out in the open. It's the very first time it's been premiered. I think it's been retweeted from the Degenheim account.
Yeah, it just did it.
Yeah, we couldn't really. I don't know. Shan got really excited, so I'm happy to see that he's excited about it and he's in the chat with us. Like I think this might be the first AMA out of like 50 to 60 to 70 AMAs I've done in here that Shan showed up for, and he showed up in the middle of the night just to show you how bullish someone can be on what's going on here. And when he saw the video, I know he's seen it before, but he was too excited. So there it is. It's on the Degenheim Twitter right now. It's on Shan's Twitter. I know a lot of people are quote retweeting it all over the place. Get it out there, guys. I mean, and this is not even just trying to get you guys to raid something. It's just like show people like what we have and what we're building, and show everybody even outside the Web3 world like what like Web3 actually can do. Because I feel like it's a bit of a when we get these rug pulls and all this stuff, we have become the laughing stock, and there's so much untapped potential in here, and we're starting to tap in with this project right here, and that's the important thing. So, yeah, I kind of hijacked you there, but Madara, if you have anything else you want to say, feel free to.
No, that was about it. I love the excitement for you guys. I love how everybody's excited. And I just want to mention one last thing. You said you're not old, you're 35. I mean, some people call you a boomer, but I'm I'm less than 10 years away from that. So we're technically still young people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's about how you live your life versus what the number on your birth certificate says is like your actually true age. Age is just a random stupid number, but how you go about life is how old you truly are. I'm gonna be playing video games until I'm dead, so I don't give a shit. So in that respect, I'm gonna be young
Amen.
forever. Okay.
Amen.
And I know Milan agrees with me on that.
No, you're old as fuck. You're gonna die soon. No. I totally agree with that. Like that. That is a very true statement.
Absolutely.
Well,
So appreciate you for coming up
oh
here, and
yeah.
like I said before, appreciate everything you do for the community. And I will see you over in Degenheim chat. And yeah, thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Yes, please. Thank you guys. Have fun and take care.
Alrighty.
Yep. Thanks.
Peace.
All right, Daryl, I got you up here. I know you got a flight to catch, but I wanted to get you up here. Make sure you got your question answered and you have enough time to get your answer. How you doing,
Thanks,
brother?
mate.
Where are you flying to?
Doing great. I'm actually in Bali, so I
Oh,
actually just proposed to my girlfriend and had
oh
my birthday.
shit!
Nice.
Big
Ah,
week for me.
all right,
But no
that's
regrets
amazing.
staying.
Congratulations, man. I'm actually going to Bali for the very first time in a couple weeks.
Yo, for real?
For real.
Hit me up for some Bali Alpha, man. But
Okay.
it's getting late. Thanks for having me. Like I said, I have a flight to catch in 6 hours time, so I'm gonna keep this short, hopefully. So thank you, Milan. Thanks, Zero, for the MAA. 100%, no regrets staying up. It's if anything, it's gotten me even more bullish. So
Awesome.
my question to you, Milan, it's more related to the team. So
Mm-hmm.
you talked about funding. Things are being self-funded right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 100% seeded or angels?
No, it's from our own pockets.
Gotcha. And in
But-
terms of, because game development, I think it gets quite intricate, especially when we're looking at the big names. So
Mhm.
when you're talking about your technology team and your product team, are these verticals separated at this point in time, or are they grouped together?
What do you mean by that?
So you guys have your back-end engineers and product in the same team reporting into the same line of people, or do you guys have these functions separated?
No, we're working closely together, really. But like the majority of the team has known each other for years, so like we're even used to work together, and everything is done in house also. So we're in close contact. Most of us basically reside very close to each other in the same city. So it's not really a problem to either work like digitally or physically. It's not a problem to even like meet up and so on. So yeah, we're working very closely together, and we're doing it in a very, let's say, agile form of development.
Gotcha.
And so we're like everyone works with anyone who they need to work with. So for example, I don't know if there is some task that is like between the artists and the 3D guys. So yeah, they just get in contact, boom, 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 exchange all the stuff, whoop, deliverables fall out. We need stuff for the Olympics. Okay, then we do some game dev. We hit up the guy who's handling the cloud infrastructure behind that. We spin it all up. Whoop, we deploy it. Suddenly it's public. So basically, we work in such a manner that should you need anyone from the team, they should be at your disposal.
Gotcha. So basically, the background for my question is because I see projects the same way I see startups. A bit of background, I'm a consultant that works really closely with startups, venture cap, PE funds, and I made it a point for me to really dig deeper into projects and their teams. So my last question to you, maybe it's a bit more technical, but given the skill that Degenheim is foreseeing in the future, right now, as per most startups, I'm assuming you guys are built on a monolithic architecture for your tech stack, or are there plans to already integrate this into microservices?
In which way do you mean like monolithic? The gaming part, the blockchain part, or the public cloud infrastructure? Because yes, I do know the caveats of having a monolithic infrastructure, and you definitely want to avoid that to the biggest possible extent possible. So hence why we are basically considering hosting or building the whole infrastructure on AWS. So it's basically everything of that are services and microservices provided by the biggest cloud computing provider in the world, who offers you the possibilities of having a global, scalable, secure, and fast and provisioned, and so on infrastructure.
I got you. I just
like no legacy on-premise servers or something like that. Like I haven't co-founded a cloud computing tech startup to build my next thing on a legacy server sitting down in my basement. Like we're not doing that.
Gotcha. The engineer in me just wanted to get a sense of what the tech stack is built upon, but thanks for answering that, Milan. I think that's
No. It's a very good question. Actually, very viable, and shows that obviously you don't lack domain knowledge. So it's like these questions are always welcome, because if if not even for you, it helps to shed light to people who don't know about the whole backbone of developing things. So just like everyone just maybe learn something new to consider when, if in the future they, for example, consider making their own project. So these questions are more than welcome.
100%. Thanks for that, Milan. And, to all the community in the audience that's listening to this, if this doesn't make you more bullish, what Milan just said, that the Degenheim will definitely be scalable. But thanks for having me, Milan. Thanks, Zero. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, Daryl, you're the man. Before you get on your flight, check inside the Degenheim. Check your role inside the Degenheim server. It might be different.
Yeah, Zero Cool just bribed you, probably.
No, I actually had never met. This is the first time I've ever met this man, and I'm having a chat with some of the mods and people that are in the server, that are in the Degenheim server, and your role has been changed. So definitely something to maybe make as like a congratulations for getting engaged. And I also hear that you hurt your foot beforehand, so I hope that heals properly, and speedy recovery to you, and a safe flight home.
Oh shit! Thanks, guys. Cheers. Wow, this might be getting me a bit too excited to fall asleep right now, but thanks for having me, and good night, guys. Thanks for having me once again.
Take care.
Have a nice
Congratulations.
flight.
Thanks, guys.
All right, MKT. This is one of the Voice of Godjira is definitely a good name to have for his thing here, because he definitely does a lot of tweets and lets people know what's going on with Godjira, and he's in chat, and he's just an amazing member of the community. How are you doing today, brother?
Doing really good. Unfortunately, slaving away at my Web 2 job right now.
Oh man, I know how that feels. I hear you. How's it going? What questions you got for Milan or for anyone?
So I do have two questions. One is regarding, skins, like you guys said, and stuff like that. So one thing that I'm really, really interested to see is, the NFT that's going to be able to make a game with an NFT attached with consumable items, like you said, and certain other items that are available on the blockchain. My only question is, in the future, when Degenheim, is building to bigger things, can we see, a marketplace somehow in game that will be attached fully on chain, specifically only for Degenheim?
Currently, we have nothing of this in our roadmap, due to the sheer reason that we don't want to vendor lock the players. Like, if you want to sell it on I don't know, OpenSea, go on, or Kaching, because they're on the Indonesian market and you like lower fees. Because I just received a pitch from them, and I think I like their value proposition. Well, then feel free, do it there. Or do you like have friends and do you want to trade the items without paying all the fees whatsoever? And I'm like, okay, like do it your way. We want to empower players to actually have the possibilities to do with the NFTs what you want. Like, that is the whole idea of leveraging the technology. Like, why would I create all the NFT stuff and the blockchain stuff behind this if I vendor lock it in my own marketplace? It was like, this is the most Web 2.0 logic you could possibly implement. So hence why this is not on our roadmap yet. There's one reason, and the second reason is the huge overhead that comes with the development of a marketplace. Because like the marketplace has to have so many features, you have to account for so many edge cases, security, and so on and so on, so you don't get into trouble. And at this stage, I would much rather focus on the development of the game and actually providing the people a very pleasant experience than to build our own marketplace. Like, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, and there are a lot of wheels that already supply the functions of marketplaces.
Yes, I understand the logic behind that. I wasn't really saying vendor locking because it's gonna be an ERC token, so it should be tradable on any. I was just kind of asking more as an alternative. Zero Cool also plays League of Legends. Let's say if somehow you're able to buy it and then you go on your MetaMask wallet or you're on OpenSea, you would be able to trade it, not really as a vendor lock, but as an additional option. I do understand the development would be insane, and I can understand, it would be further down the roadmap. Just was wondering more of your perspective on that. So thank you very much.
Well, if it makes sense somewhere in the future, I'm not saying a definitive no, because like if it makes sense, why the fuck not, right? But yeah, the overhead on the development of stuff like this is huge. People can't even imagine of how complex doing something to the standards I imagine it to be. Because like it's one thing that like okay, you can create a marketplace where you can trade stuff, right? But to create a marketplace that is of respectable quality that we would deem fit, overhead would be huge, and the time spent on that would also be huge.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your time.
No problem.
Hey,
Good
thank you so
question.
much for coming up here. Amazing questions as always. It's one of the things that I like so much about these AMAs is like the depths of these questions that come out. It's just like we're always learning more and more stuff, the team and everyone else, even people who've been to all these AMAs and whatnot, and that's definitely a really cool aspect of these AMAs, and that's what I feel like AMAs are made for. It's not just made for people being like, oh, look at my PFP project, but like to really get that good, juicy like information out there that maybe a small percentage of people understand, but people really are wondering that stuff. So thank you so much, MKT. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Same to you, sir.
Alrighty.
Thanks for the question. It was awesome.
Tada, if you don't mind, let's let Mams go next. I think there's an engagement in 20 minutes, so if you want to go ahead and come off mute, Mams, and then we'll get Tada up here.
Cool stuff. Thank you for this, and sorry, Tada, for cutting line. How's it going, Zero Cool? Milan, how you doing again?
Greetings.
Well
just a
met.
brief thing about. Sorry, I missed what you said there.
No, it's just I play this game called Valheim, and it's like Vikings, and me and my friends, well met, is what they say to each other.
Oh yeah. Oh, they use well met in like
Yes.
every game these days.
Yeah. I think even the orcs in WoW
World
use
of
it as
Warcraft.
well. Yeah.
I think humans
Is it
did
humans?
actually.
Yeah.
Like
Well met.
humans did like in Stormwind, like well met in such a way.
Yeah,
So,
that's it. I was
dude,
never
dude, like,
Alliance.
dude, like
Yes.
I can play the voice clip in my head after like 15 years of the game.
Dude,
insane.
your impression of it is pretty spot on too.
That's amazing.
Yeah, huge secret. I was the guy voicing it.
Oh shit! Yo, I'm sitting with
No, I
Fate right now.
wasn't.
Oh man, too funny. Yeah, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, so I just had like a question again. Yeah, so World of Warcraft. So I've been beta testing that game since it's been so many years now. And the question that I have here is more related to the NFT aspect in the sense that like we're making progress in the game, and I know it's like NFT bound, and I wanted to see if anything you do in the game affects the metadata of the NFT itself, or is each item that we gain or lose in the game its own NFT that we add and collect in a wallet? Like, what's the story here with like the items that we get?
Well, I think it's a much more feasible approach to do it the other way around. That the NFT should basically be a token that has a representation in the game, right? So, for example, you can have I'll just make some shit up. You can have a golden breastplate, let's say, whatever, right? And by having the golden breastplate, you would have the ability to equip the item in the game, but the balancing and all the data part would be inside the game logic. Why I think this is the better approach is due to the sheer amount of live ops and optimizations. Like imagine you having a huge player base where a big amount of players actually have these items, and you suddenly find that these items are over or underpowered. So you'd probably tinker around and have to play with the items and change them. Look at the development complexity and also the procedure complexity. If for example, 50,000 players have these items scattered in their wallets, right? You would have to do some tedious stuff to update this everywhere, right? And it probably would even like requires possibly some compliance from your side. So I think the better approach is that like, okay, you have the breastplate and it represents something in the game, and you have the in-game representation, and this way you can iterate on the changes of the data much sooner without ever paying a single dime in a gas fee, which I think is a way better approach.
That was my next question. I was going to be like, are any changes like related to like like any changes to like my character or like any special items that let's say like I buy and want to add and remove? Are those like transactions on the blockchain that will require gas fees every time?
We're
Like
trying to minimize
say
this
there's like
as
an
much as
amount
possible.
or something.
Yeah, we're trying to minimize this as much as possible. Hence why we're obviously not building a game that is 100% on chain, because first and foremost that is borderline retarded, and I'm very fond of debating anyone who thinks otherwise, and like I will appreciate the W on that discussion. Hence why you
That's
want to
another
build a
AMA.
good yeah. Yeah, I'll be like the guy behind the table, like, change my mind, right? And just like battling
exactly.
people. Yeah, no. So hence why you want to basically create a good balance of a trifecta where you, for example, keep a lot of stuff inside the game logic, because it provides you with all the advantages of Web 2.0 gaming, which is the possibility to do live ops and analytics and changes virtually constantly, right? Without
Absolutely.
paying the gas fees for the processing power of the blockchain. Obviously, you will pay the fees for the processing power on the public cloud architecture, but yeah, that is much less tedious. So you have a good portion that is inside the game logic itself. Then you use the blockchain and the NFTs as a immutable source of truth data layer, right? So you have like data which are hard or impossible to corrupt and obviously seem like a source of truth. And then you build this on top of a scalable public cloud architecture, which reaps you all the benefits of scalability of systems, being a distributed system, cloud delivery networks, security, access right management, like huge technological shits behind it, right? And this way, you actually want to minimize the amount of communication with the blockchain, and you want to do that only when you specifically need it. So the whole procedure and the whole like backend of the game is actually lightning fast compared to blockchain only, and it's much cheaper and much more convenient.
Fair enough. That makes a lot of sense, and I hope you're able to like achieve this balance where you'll actually be able to optimize all this thing.
Yeah,
things that you've been saying.
Well, it's usually a continuous process. Like you continually optimize stuff, whether it's in game or whether it's on the side of architecture. Like that is not a feature that like, okay, this is done and fuck it for 2 years. No, you constantly do that and reiterate. And actually, I have the luck that the cloud computing startup that I co-founded, we actually created a tool that allows for that actually it's a creation of a AWS, currently AWS specific.
Oh yes, I remember you said this in the last game.
Cloud computing software that allows you to create production ready infrastructure in hours to days instead of months, right? So I intend to use one of my businesses for my other. It's a very good synergy.
I mean, yeah, that's why you made it in the first place. I remember you telling me about this in the last AMA.
Yeah, well, at that time I didn't have Degenheim in my head because like the cloud computing startup, we have been working on that for 3 years already. But yeah, it's a very nice coincidence that I get to use one for the other.
It's amazing. And then I know you keep mentioning live ops, and I know that like this game intends to be like a live service with like updates and events and stuff like that. And back when I was in med school, when we were taking psychiatry and psychology, we went into the topic of gaming and how they retain their customers by using like the psychological tactic of FOMO. Like, yeah. So where like, for example, you know, like if there's a battle pass or like in the sense that like there's like an event that can happen where you can get an item that drops like for like a set period of time, and then after that it becomes like an OG item with like higher value, and it just like over time increases in value, and then
absolutely,
yeah. So you're targeting that?
Absolutely, like that is the whole reason of live ops. It's actually serving you constant updates and upgrades to the game, so you have an enjoyable experience. Because like I don't know if you ever played it, like imagine just like if Fortnite came out and it would still be the same Fortnite as it was day one. You would be like, fuck it, this is boring. There's nothing new. There's no progression in the game, right?
Mhm.
But suddenly, you have like new seasons, new maps, new characters, new abilities, a Thanos event, a Obi-Wan character, a Spider-Man character, gajillion amounts of content that keeps you engaged and gives you new and new ways of progressing. Because actually, people think that like cool graphics and effects and the gameplay itself, like the combat, keeps you in game, and I'm like, the fuck it does, right?
Yeah.
The huge drivers actually that keep you inside a game loop are usually ways of progressing, because like progression is such a huge psychological driver, and I'm very well versed in psychology, so I hence know that why you get it from this subject, because that is actually what we did in the past. Like, for example, our former head of game design, he was a doctor of psychology, and we were basically just
Wow.
reverse engineering a human brain and subconscious levels of your thinking, and leveraging that to our advantage to create engaging games and game
Absolutely.
experiences. And that is what you actually do. Like, I don't know, imagine you play a game, I don't know, Witcher, right? You keep in the game because you progress as a character, you progress with your level, you progress with your items, you progress with the story, you progress with other characters. So many fucking ways of you explore the world, right? You have new quests, side
Yeah.
quests. So many ways of progression, right? Even in fucking, I don't know, Call of Duty. Like, okay, you play Warzone, it's the same shit over and over again. But is it? You always get new weapons, new attachments, new shit to unlock, new skins, new this, new that. This way you can progress. And there is only one way of progressing. Then you have like progressing in your stats because you want to have a higher KD, more wins, use new tactics, so on and so on and so on. So there's a huge plethora of psychological aspects that actually come into play when motivating players to stay in the game. And it's basically like a carrot on a stick just in front of your face that just shows you the new way. And the best thing is to actually have multiple carrots on multiple sticks. So you can you can progress in multiple ways, and that keeps you engaged for such a huge amount of time. Throw in a few of generative stuff like RNG, etc., and then like scale a late game, for example, similar to Hades with the Pact of Punishment, where you only like you progressively make the game harder and challenging, which gives you the sense of achievement. Like, okay, I'm gonna beat this next shit because like it's harder than last time, and it also makes you progress in the story, and also makes you progress in the sense that you are yielding better returns on the rewards, right? And suddenly, like, you have so many ways of progressing and scaling late game virtually to infinity. You can basically create a game that is so replayable.
Fair enough. And I guess that answers most of my questions. And I just wanted to give you one more question that I don't want you to answer now. I just want you to think about it for the future. And that would be, have you heard of New World, the Amazon game?
New World, the Amazon game?
Yeah,
It's called, it's recent. It was like 2021, like the end of 2020. You've heard about it? Is it cool?
Lots of there are like lots of crafting in it, and like, you have like a couple abilities. I think it is. I never got a chance to play it. My playing new MMOs.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, definitely. I've heard, and but later on down the road, I kind of felt that the hype died down a bit.
Very quick, dude. That's what I wanted to ask you, and I wanted you to think about. So this was one of the games that was very, very, very hyped. And people were saying this was the one that was going to end World of Warcraft and MMORPGs, and like Final Fantasy 14 didn't stand a chance and stuff like that. But then it came out and the graphics were phenomenal. It was very like it was a unique style of like gameplay, but it was kind of related to like what you were doing. There were these. It was a live service. They got their updates. They did all that stuff, but at the same time, the hype died down very fast and very quick over time. I personally don't know what went wrong, but I wanted to like kind of point you towards that like that game, just so that you can maybe find out why it went wrong, and hopefully that will kind of give you like insight towards maybe yes or maybe no, the things that you should or should not avoid when making a game. That's about it. So it's not a question. It's more like if you don't know about it.
Yeah, it's a very good remark. But it's actually like it also comes down to the fact that you're building an open world MMORPG, which is extremely
nother-
complex game model, and I personally feel that the MMORPG genre isn't performing as well as it was in the past. Like, you see huge
true.
player bases churning, and it's also due to the fact that the players who actually were thriving on MMORPGs, right? Yes, you could play for 7 hours a day when you were a kid or a teenager, right? But suddenly you're 30, 32, 35. You don't have the timely means to do so, right? I would like to play World of Warcraft, but do I have the time to do so? No. And with the amount of time I have, I cannot enjoy the game, right? So why then even bother playing it?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I still get my time on WoW, but yeah, I agree with you. I can't play the hours that I used to play when I was a kid, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
And I
now
totally
you
get
would
it.
much rather play League of Legends or Smite or Warzone, where you can you jump on with your boys, you play 2-3 matches. If you have 2-3 good and fast matches, it could be an hour and a half, and you had a lot of fun. And
That's
good,
true.
you didn't waste 6 hours a day for a month to level up, to come to the late game, to actually enjoy late game PvP, right? You hopped in and you had fun in 20 minutes. That is a huge difference.
I agree. I agree with this for sure. I agree. And that kind of concludes it in terms of my questions. I just wanted to remind you about that strawberry skin that I told you about last time. Don't let us down, man. Put it in there, dude.
Yeah, that's probably going to be a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Instant legendary.
Dude, I'm so happy to hear this. I'm so happy to hear
I hope people won't be mad then, because I think
it's your game.
that
You do what
item
you want.
shouldn't be a common one.
Hey, it's special. Everyone knows the story behind it. It makes sense that it's a legendary, you know?
Fuck yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that. Anyway, guys, thank you for having me. I'm gonna have to bolt right now, but I appreciate you having me up.
Thank you so much.
very much.
Appreciate you.
And thanks to the Godjira team for having me up here. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for being an amazing member of the community, and I'll see you around for sure.
See you, buddy.
Light as.
Bye, man.
All right, Tata, let's get it, baby. Thanks for waiting. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. I just watched the trailer on Chan's Twitter page with the Godjira one. It's like crazy, like really beautiful stuff.
You want to know even more beautiful thing is that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, exactly. and what I want, so my first question as a Degen is, are there loot boxes, like, like the gacha loot boxes in this game?
Ooh, currently not, but I fear because like the guy I mentioned, the game and economy designer, which I have worked with in the past, the Dr. Seiko, he's such a huge fan of gacha and loot boxes. I personally hate them. They're awesome for monetization. So I don't know whether they won't be a part later down the road if he agrees to join us. But currently they are none of these aspects in the game.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I like them, but I'm a DJ.
Really?
So...
Dude, how can you like them? Like, you're one weird motherfucker.
Money-wise, it's bad.
I mean, if it's play to win, I mean, I could see if you log in and they're like, hey, you get a loot box, like League of Legends, for instance, they give you, these like chests and stuff, and you open up and you can buy a character for cheaper, or you get a skin that you can not have to pay real life money for. In that sense, yes, but in the sense of loot box, Warzone and Overwatch and all that stuff, I tend to agree for sure. But like Milan was saying, it's an easy way to monetize it, and that's not always what we want to do. We want to do the right thing.
Yeah, because like for example, I'm not such a huge fan, because usually the fragment gacha, especially the fragment gacha monetization model, that is so fucking rigged. Like, you have higher chances of winning on slot machines than actually fooling a fragment gacha algorithm that is fine tuned, because that stuff will fuck you up. Like the logic behind it, it can give you the such an experience, for example, that you get people analyzing what is the weapon you play the most in the game, for example, or a character or whatsoever, right? And you will hit a point where you will get matched a lot with a character that is the best counter to your character, right? And you will get fucked up a lot of times, right? and you have the fragment gacha. You could unlock the new character, for example, with soft currency and 3 cards, and you have 2. And you will get constantly matched against this character to get fucked up, so you have like the motivation psychologically inside of you to like think that this shit is OP, I will need it. But you're missing the 1 card, and suddenly you have a very special deal inside the app store, like, just for you, this deal for $5.99 or I don't know, $10.99 or whatsoever, right? So like, there are ways that you can use here to make it a pay-to-win experience with Fragment Gacha, but I would not be very fond of having that implemented inside our game currently.
Okay, yeah. So my last question is, and I always I like this question because it kind of shows like the love you have for your game, and it's like, did you have like a night or days where you were like really frustrated about a thing and you couldn't get through it, but you pushed like so many days, so many hours, and got like the success you wanted, like for a specific thing in this game?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So I mean, like, did you have like you want
Like
to implement something
roadblocks
in
or
the game?
hurdles you had to
Oh yeah,
go
of
through and
course,
stuff like
dude.
that.
Constantly, dude. Like that
Yeah.
happens so often, fucking in the development. Like currently, I'm even trying to solve one bug which none of our team can explain. Like there is no fucking reason why it's a tiny thing, but it's not working. I'm like, I'm not letting this go because obviously then we will forget about it, right? And just like I'm trying to solve one piece of the puzzle that just doesn't seem to work for no fucking reason. And sometimes these things you would think that you can solve that in minutes, and then like boom, 2 days gone, right? So yeah, definitely happens. Fucking
Yeah,
hate it. But I love the moment when you go through it. Like I love the feeling after, like nicely
Yeah.
fucking done, right?
It shows your dedication.
Yeah, but dude, like people think that development is like you're like a matrix guy hammering
Yeah, like
into your
Minority
keyboard and
Report.
whatsoever. Yeah, no, like you know how development looks like. You basically you're like walking circles and cursing and looking into Stack Overflow and YouTube tutorials and whatever to basically solve your problem. For example, our head game developer, like most of the issues in Degenheim were actually solved by me calling him and him being on the balcony and chain smoking one cigarette from another and just like dropping slurs and curses consecutively until we came to a solution.
But I mean, it just shows like the love for this game, and I'm really excited for it.
Thank you very much. Like I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah, keep pushing, and see you on here, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tadej. I
Awesome.
appreciate you,
Thank
man.
you very much.
You're the fucking man. Have a good rest of your day.
Love you, Zero. See ya.
Love you too, brother. Take care. All right, Lorithic, go for it. How you doing? You doing all right today?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah,
I
I'm
can hear
doing
you
well.
loud and clear perfectly.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty chilling. Went to the gym early morning, so
I love to hear
it's
it.
a
Love
good
to
day.
hear it.
Yeah, so my question's to Milan. I think last time you were talking about how do you go about like documentation, and it seems like the game has like a lot of caveats and things that make it distinct. So I kind of wanted to know more so about like, were you going along like the get books route, or how are you like planning to unveil pretty much the extent of the game and all the like unique caveats and things like that?
To the public or inside the team?
Yeah, to the public.
Well,
Like
to the
show
public.
the open source.
Yeah. Well, definitely we will reveal a lot of content to the public, but we tend to keep some things to ourselves, right? Because like people have been asking us, like, will you publish a light paper or white paper or medium article? And I say yes, but it will be a good document because like, and I'm not bashing any project currently, but if I were to show some of the white, light, or whatever papers you want to, or game design documents of some of the gaming projects in the space, to anyone that is like even remotely related to the gaming industry, they would be laughing as fuck. And I have seen some projects, right? And I have seen their white papers, and it was like basically gibberish that gave up no information just for the sake of posing that like we're transparent, and it basically was like nothing informative, right? And the reason for that you actually don't want to publish this for the reason that that is super fucking valuable information. Because like for proper game design and game design optimization, I've seen people charging 5 to 6 figures a month, right? Why should I be giving this out for free to someone to just like come and copy it and create Degenheim 2 or whatever, like Goblinheim or Wizardheim, or I don't know, name it as you want, right? It's like it's very risky to publish this information, because like it's not because of like you're afraid, but it is highly valuable. Like if you have something that is so valuable, why would you give it up for free? It is one thing to knowledge share. Like I've been sharing a lot of knowledge with other projects. I've been even advising some very respectable people in the space, which I was kind of honored that to talk to them. And I believe that the space should be thriving in a way that projects are not competing with each other, but are rather working together to elevate the space. But even that has some borders. Like you don't want to give out the whole blueprint of your game to someone else.
Okay, sure. So I can recognize that, certain aspects of it are like IP, intellectual property. So
Absolutely.
where do you have, I guess, or does the team have, intent to kind of do like, giving back in terms of, select areas like how to, do a basic this or how to implement basic this? Because I think, the community part and people are eager to learn, even if it's not
Absolutely.
for like a malicious intent to like publish and just have like personal gain. But I think a lot of people in the space also want to
Absolutely.
learn in certain aspects of whatever it is. So yeah.
Absolutely. I have been doing that in every single AMA and every single voice chat, and I've been giving out advice and even consulting to multiple projects in different stages of development in the Web 3.0 space regarding some game industry knowledge, and I've been doing that completely for free. Like I was even offered payment, and I always denied it, just for the sheer fact that I wanted to help people. So yes, the answer is yes.
Go ahead, drop the CyberCon,
Alright.
CyberCon thing.
Oh yeah, we actually helped to optimize. Me and the team, we helped CyberCon optimize their voxel models by 10x back in December. They actually did all the work and the heavy lifting, but CyberCon was the first project to see very early footage of our work, and like their council of CyberCon was like, "This is awesome! Like, do you have a voxel Kong?" And I'm like, "Unfortunately, we don't." And like, "Here, have mine. Put it into the game, right?" And I was like, "Okay." We put it into the game, and those original voxels were super de-optimized. So we were like, "Okay, these are the issues. You can optimize CyberCongs by this. I mean the voxel Kongs," and they did a tremendous job. By first round of the optimization, thanks to our pointers, they made a 300% optimization on performance of their voxel Kong models, and currently the optimization on their models are more than 10x from the original state. So yeah, we've been kind of doing this in the space since last year.
Yeah. I just had to make sure
Not
to
awesome to
highlight
hear.
that, because like it's really important for me and for projects that I have anything to do with, are first and foremost trying to better the Web3 space, because I feel like so many people are trying to think about their own project or their own bags and trying to make money. And I think the more important thing is we're all going to be able to do that stuff, make money, and like have their own project and have successful projects later on. But I think Web3 is really based in like having people work together and to better stuff.
Absolutely.
A lot of the contracts that are done by some of the GOAT devs, like Inurashi, those are open source. And they could gatekeep that, and they could not like have people be able to access all that stuff. but they don't because they're trying to better this space. And I think that's like a really, really, really important aspect of like why Milan and the team here is like for this project to be successful, it really does better this space. We're definitely going to make sure we're helping out and trying to give you guys like a product that you deserve, and that's actually like, that we've been deserved. We should have gotten something like Degenheim months and months ago. But I think it's really important, and I think it's a really cool thing. So, thanks for coming up here, Lorithica. Do you have any other questions before I send you back down to the audience?
No, that was great. Thank you so much for having me.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the question. I really love the fact that you actually care about like projects giving back to the space.
Yeah.
I think this mentality should be all around the space. People should be looking towards providing value rather than extracting it, and hence why we also have the approach that I come to the space with, like, we want to provide value, not extract it. So, and I intend to stick to my word. So if I can help some other projects, whether by consulting or advice or even like involvement, why not?
Well, I think it's important because like people don't realize that there's a bigger picture. They're thinking micro. The macro thing is if we don't better the space and help everyone else to have good, like, the voxels and the good contracts and all of this stuff where people can work together, and your project doesn't lose anything from that, but the space gains a lot from it. And guess what? If the space isn't around anymore, guess what? It doesn't fucking matter anymore what anyone's doing, because we've already eaten up the space and we all cared only about money and instead of bettering the space. And that's why this is really important, and that's why I like has a special place in my heart for projects like this and Godjira, and I also help with another one called Superfest and things like that. Is that the success of those projects like directly help the space versus directly help the team's pockets. It's a big fucking thing, and I'm very, very passionate about it. Allies are greater than enemies no matter what. If you're not getting your ETH value right then to help out the space and to make it so that you're making ETH for 5 to 10 years to come instead of making a good chunk of it in the next couple months and then the space is gone, way bigger deal. And I feel like everybody that's working in this space also loves what they do versus just only trying to, like, we want to keep working in this space because we love it, not just because we make money in it, but it's a beautiful thing. So let's all fucking work together, just like what Milan was saying, and like all these other projects, and let's band together and really create something amazing, because like Web3 really hasn't been tapped into fully yet. It's really tip of the iceberg, and we need more projects to come out there to really show that we're pushing innovation and pushing the envelope. And it's very, very, very important to me, as you can tell. You guys have heard me talk a lot, but anyways, Delago, I'm not sure if I pronounced your name right or wrong, and if I pronounced it wrong, my sincerest apologies.
It's all good. It's all good. Thanks for bringing me up. Right, so I've got a couple of questions to Milan, one on the game itself and one on the project as a whole. And they could have been asked before, so I apologize if you're going to repeat the answer. So the game question is like, what makes you want to hold multiple characters, right? Like, say I minted or like I bought 3 or 4 characters, and then a few months into the game, I started like focusing on one of the characters, and I leveled that character up. And then at one point, there's no need for me to keep 3. What would make me want to keep holding them, like the other characters that I didn't level up, instead of like listing them or like getting rid of them?
Well, depends, because as I mentioned, we want our holders to have multiplicative value delivered to them. So the more you have, the more you will receive down the road from us for free. Just imagine that you mint an NFT from us, and then later on we will drop you a chest that is connected to the rarity of your NFT. So the rarer your NFT, the rarer the chest, the higher the chances of you rolling additional rare NFTs or legendaries. Or I don't know, if you have a 1-of-1 legendary NFT, you will probably have a 1-of-1 legendary chest, which probably will have some guaranteed stuff to drop there, right? So that is the motivation. And why have more? Because like the more you have, the more you will get, right? And suddenly the multiplication becomes exponential. And that is some very easy mathematics to do.
Right, but that would require me to level up the other characters as well, right? Like I need to...
No, you wouldn't even have to touch the game at all.
Right, okay.
Like just imagine, you mint an NFT and you never play the game, and you hold it. And then we announce like, okay, we'll be dropping the in-game starter packs, right? You have a legendary NFT. Boom, you get a legendary chest dropped, right? You can sell it, you can open it, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it, right? Because like I want to give you, the community, the players should have the power, right? I want you to have as much power as possible. And what you do with that is up to you. So you open it up, boom, it drops you out of the wild, I don't know, 4 extra NFTs. And you know you won't be playing the game. And you see some of the NFTs, let's flip them, fuck it. And this one seems like a rare item, so let's see where the meta goes. And you can strategically hold onto the item, and if the item becomes a part of meta build, suddenly it will have probably insane values, right? Then you can sell it, or you can just hold it, or whatever, right? And imagine you have 3 NFTs instead of 1. So basically you multiply this by 3. Boom, exponential growth.
Got you. All right, cool. And all the wearables and the drops will be tradable on OpenSea as well?
Yes, that is the grand vision of the project, to create a gaming project that you actually enjoy, that is not like grind, play to earn, where you sit 8 hours on your ass to make $60 or whatsoever. But I want to make a project that would make the 13-year-old me happy. When I was back in the day imagining that I could one day earn money by playing games, right? Which is absolutely impossible when you're from Central Europe and you can't get signed by any organization and you have lack of exposure, right? This way, I want to give people the game where kids are running back from school, calling up their friends because let's fuck someone up in the arena in Degenheim or whatsoever, and climb up the leaderboard, and at the end of the season, let's be among the top ranked players, so we receive prizes which we can then monetize, right? So like the project actually allows for so many ways of making gains. Like I by no means I want to toot my own horn, but it's just like kind of amazing that how well we have thought stuff through, that it allows for a huge variety of people to make gains in ways that are actually enjoyable to them.
Got you. All right, amazing. Okay, right. So the other question on a project basis, specifically, we know it's always healthy to have competitors, right? And like to benchmark, to see what they're doing, to upgrade, to enhance your game, and all that. Who do you see as your biggest competitor from an NFT game perspective as of today? Like Big Time, for example, is it one of the competitors that you look at?
Every time I get asked this question, and every time people mention Big Time, and I actually had a call with them last week, and we both parties we actually agreed that we are by no means competing with each other, and we probably like just today we followed up on that. The last message is actually it's 6:30. It's 40 minutes old. Exactly. The last message is 40 minutes old, and we actually discussed possibilities of what we could do together and not against each other. Because if you consider the fact that you look at the numbers, feel free to go and combine every single fucking NFT crypto game there is. Every single one. Combine them together, count the player base, count the money, and suddenly you will see that these numbers are combined not as big as some above average game in the Web 2.0 industry, right? And that will give you the fact that the stage of crypto and NFT gaming is so early, and it is in such diapers. It's basically an infant stage, that once the space grows, people won't be looking at competition, right? The early adopters and the early movers won't give a fuck about that, right? Because look at the Web 2.0 space. Just look at the MOBA genre. You have League of Legends, you have Smite, you have Heroes of the Storm, you have Dota. All of those are big MOBAs, and they are directly competing with each other. Yet, every single one of them is earning millions to billions of dollars. How is that possible? By the sheer amount of players and the size of the space. And this space is on its way there. It's not there yet, but it is on its way there. And a second aspect is that they're building a totally different game. They're building a open world MMORPG. And we are building a roguelite game with arena-based PvP. absolutely different games. It's like if you would ask, like, how is World of Warcraft competing with Warzone, where it isn't, because they're totally different games. And we actually called about it, and we came to the agreement that, like, yeah, we're not even competing with each other. Let's look at how we can do something good for the space.
Right. Okay. So it's healthy competition is always good because you push one another. But if it's not big time, who would you see as a competitor moving forward? And it could be healthy said, like it doesn't have to be competing in a bad way. It's just like who would you want to compete with moving forward from like today? Because I know there's going to be a lot of games coming up in the future. But as of today, like, is there a specific project or projects that you look at and get some ideas from, you get inspired from, and so on?
To be honest, not really. I'm not really trying to look outward as much, because I think that there are two ways, and this is a Gary Vee quote, and I'm a huge fan of his, and I have been a huge fan of his way before he entered the NFT space. So like, he inspired me to do a lot of stuff in my life and to be a better person. And one of his quote is like, there's two ways of building the highest building in the city. The first one is to build the highest building in the city, and the second one is to tear all other buildings higher than yours down. And I am very fond of the first part of the sentence. So I'm not actually looking for competitors. There are definitely some in the space, and I even hope there will be some, because competition is always beneficial to the market, because it forces you to strive for excellence. So I am currently aware of none, because I am not looking for anyone, because every time I spend looking outwards, I don't spend time developing Degenheim to its full potential, and I rather choose the latter than the former.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Milan. That's it from me, but thanks for bringing me up.
Thank you very much. Good questions.
All right, Nishant, go ahead, come off mute and ask your question. Thanks I gotta say, thank you everyone for being so patient. I know, it's not like these simple answers, but I know that you guys don't want simple answers. You want to actually like hear about what's going on. And when you get people who kind of skirt around these questions and don't give you the full thing, it's kind of, in my opinion, a bit of a red flag. So like, I have to say, of course, it's like I'm tooting my own horn because I'm on the team over here working with Milan, but I appreciate this like wholeheartedly, like for sure. So thank you for waiting around. Thank you for being patient. We'll take care of everyone. We are handing out we've handed out more Degen lists than we thought because people are being such good energy in here, and I appreciate that. And thank you so much. Go ahead with your question. How are you doing today? Doing all right?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me. I think patience definitely. This AMA has got me so intrigued. But this is the first time sitting at the airport. I've actually been praying for my flight to be delayed, so I can stay on the AMA and
I love that.
and hear about things. So my flight got delayed first time, and then I thought I'd disconnect, but then they announced that it's going to be delayed once again. So here I am asking my question.
Awesome.
I think first and foremost, Milan, I would say one thing. I have not seen a person who can actually shift from strategy to technology to numbers with such great ease than anyone else. I think you can cover all different parts, which is phenomenal. And I would say, I think irrespective of the game or whatever comes out, one thing that I know is you should always back the team that is creating it, right? Because for me, idea could be one thing, but the startup founders and a strong team can actually nail it. And I do see all the elements that makes me quite happy and bullish of staying on this AMA and hearing you out.
Thank you very much. But like, it's not me. Like people try to give me a lot of praise for the project, but I tend to give more praise to the team, because I for once think that the other team members are even better than me at their respective jobs. Like our cloud architect, like, he's light years ahead of me. Our lead game developer, despite us being in the game development space for quite the same amount of time, like, he's light years ahead of me. So I try to surround myself with people who are so much better than me in different areas, so that we are very complementary to each other. So like, it's not me, it's the team, and it always will be the praise to the team, because like, without the team, the project wouldn't be existing.
Absolutely. And I think the fact that you are able to think about some of these different what if scenarios that a lot of people have been throwing at you, it clearly shows that there has been a lot of thought process gone in doing these analysis about the market, about the stuff, and what you're planning to do. So kudos. I actually have a
Thank you.
couple of questions for you.
Feel free.
One, so while it's all good, you have the experience, you have the knowledge, you have a great team. What are the couple of things that actually keep you worried or awake about this project at night? Right, I'm just trying to figure out what is a founder like you really thinking about and worrying and preparing for.
One thing definitely is the market and the sentiment, because we've seen the market go down and people being very bearish, and some of them having very bad thoughts about the market, not being skeptics, but coming like we've seen people transitioning from super bullish to super trash talkers, just like trash talking everything in the space. So that is something that gets me kind of worried of how fickle the space sometimes can be, and how impatient it can be. Because on one hand, people, for example, during fall last year, there were people who were like buying projects which were telling them they're making AAA games, and then they were like super mad that the game isn't ready in 2 months. And like, are you actually aware of how game dev works? Like, game dev costs 6 to 7 figures in a year of your lifetime, right? Depending on the game you're making. Like, if you're making God of War, like, you better get some few millions under your belt, a 700-person team all across the globe, and fucking 4 years of your time, right? So it's probably the impatience and how finicky the fickle the space can be. That is something that gets me worried. It gets our artists worried the most. Like, I'm spending quite some time like calming down our artists, because like then he sees the market, like, the market is in shit, like, what will we do? And I'm like, dude, like, calm the fuck down, right? Like, we can't do shit about this. So like, let's work on our project, and we'll see where this goes, and we will manage somehow. Like, if it doesn't go that way, I will manage it to go successfully in another way, right? So yeah, there's like the thing that also like concerns me is also the team, because currently the development is taking huge amounts of time from our lives, right? It's been almost a year, and not many teams have the amount of dedication to put this into a project before mint. And I see that some people sometimes have doubts or struggles, etc. And you are definitely worried about that, and you try to manage this as much as possible, so that everyone remains calm, everyone remains motivated, and so on and so on. So, but like, I really do care a lot about the project and the people inside it, whether it's the community or the team, and those are things that probably worry me the most and the most often. Whether everyone is fine and okay and motivated and not dissatisfied, and that everyone is happy and doing fine, and sometimes I'm even very worried about the personal lives of the team members. For example, just recently, one of our team members, I'm not gonna drop the name, told me that like one of his family members is having some serious health issues, and I was like, dude, go take off some time, whatever, like do what you need. I will delegate everything to other people, etc. And despite us being across the globe, I still somehow feel genuinely worried, even if someone might say that like, okay, it doesn't concern your life, why give a fuck? But I somehow give, right? And stuff like this keeps me worried. The project and the people. I'm very people centric.
Correct. No, clearly, I think in this world where we are living in an instant gratification scenario, right? I invest today, and in an hour later, I want my money to be 10 times or 20 times. I think building these kind of games and investing in them, it definitely is a big ask. And as I said, I think I would love to have more conversation with you at some point to really understand how you guys keep yourselves motivated and keep going. Clearly, it has to be the passion for building a strong game. That's what I can think of.
Yeah, passion and commitment, because like, there are projects who are saying like, we're in for the long term, and then to say that they have a 2-month roadmap, right? And I'm like, the fuck you are, right? I'm like if I were to release Degenheim tomorrow, then the current roadmap goes way into the second half of 2023, right? and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, what can be done with a gaming project like this and with a brand like this? I basically want to become the Angry Birds of the space. What Angry Birds actually did back in the day, they took a concept from online Java and Flash games, which are present in any online platform you could Google. And initially, actually, Angry Birds was just like balls and piles of goo, and they got the feedback that, like, give it a nice face, give it a nice story, make it appealing to the kids and the masses. Boom, that's what they did. And suddenly you have a multi-million-dollar brand that you can fucking scale for a decade, right? And I want that from Degenheim. So hence, like, it's also sheer commitment. Once you have put a year of your life into something, you're not really fond of the idea of like, okay, let's throw this shit away. You're like, no, we're going through this, right? And it's a huge amount of perseverance and sheer dedication and will, because there have been times that were very hard when we were like pushing for some deadlines and whatsoever, and you have people working through illness and like I even tried to work through COVID, having high fever, etc., just for the sheer dedication towards the project. So yeah, when you have a lot of commitment already inside the project, folding it basically ceases to be an option.
No, absolutely. I think for me, this is exactly the point I was saying, right? You need to back a strong team, and a team that has commitment and perseverance is definitely going to succeed irrespective of the market conditions. So that is what I see. I have one more question, and I'll quickly ask that as well before the flight guys throw me in. So for you, you put an interesting point. And ultimately, Angry Birds also got the audience. They expanded the audience base, right, by engaging kids. From a Degenheim perspective, are you looking at kids as your target audience as well, or is it mainly grown-ups that you are targeting?
Absolutely. Like, imagine having a 13-year-old kid who just like instead of Diablo or Hades or whatever Lost Ark plays Degenheim, and suddenly comes like, Daddy, I made $300 because I rolled this NFT from the game, right? Or I don't know, your son comes to you and like, Daddy, I'm among the top 5 at the end of the season 1, and I get these NFTs which are super fucking valuable, right? And you'll be like, I'm proud of you, son. And like, imagine the feeling of being the kid and having these possibilities, right?
Yeah. No, I can completely imagine, because I have a daughter, and actually with her, I've been talking about a lot of NFTs. And hopefully the overall experience, and which is I'm really looking forward to, can be such that the kids are so engaged and they don't get bored out and zone out of these kind of games, which is going to be very interesting for me to watch out for.
Yeah, like that is what we're trying to do. Like I want to make a game that is enjoyable first and foremost, because like how else do you want to keep player retention? Because okay, I totally understand why people were playing, I don't know, XE, and a lot of people are still making a shit ton of money on XE, or I don't know, Thedan Arena, right? But I also know the dark side of the story, that I know people who, because there was a lock period where you couldn't pull out funds, and I know people who one day playing Thetan Arena were 6k USD in plus when you calculate it back to USD, and the day after some whales pulled out their funds, they were 2k in minus, and suddenly they were like, I lost 2k, fuck me, fuck this game, and never returned, right? And none of these players kept playing the game for the $60 a day, because you can make more money here by doing a normal job, right? And in a fraction of the time. So you want to motivate to the people to stay for the gameplay itself, and the monetary aspect of making money on top of that should be just like the icing on the cake. And you're muted if you're saying something.
Sorry, I was saying thanks. I really appreciate you answering my questions. I can really feel the passion and engagement. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of the game and seeing how the Degenheim journey progresses.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the kind words and also the questions.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day. Alrighty, Capo, you got the stage.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
It's thanks for bringing me up. I'm a big fan of playable NFTs or NFTs related to gaming, like generative dungeons. I think that's probably my most favorite. But Degenheim looks amazing. And so I'm pretty excited to try it out. I had like so I asked in the Discord, and one of your team members told me that you guys don't have a mobile game planned yet. It's gonna be like desktop only.
No, currently not. Due to the fact, the prime motivation is that we want to transition into competitive gaming, where people actually compete with each other, and
Yeah.
that is not the best way to do on mobile. Because while I was working in the mobile industry, and this was the huge irony of it, we had a whole office of people who were basically working on game design and game solutions, optimizing games, etc. And guess what? Every single one of us had 1 to 2 emulators installed on their computers, and nobody played anything on mobile. Only when you went to take a shit. Like you only play on your mobile device when you take a shit and when you're transitioning from work or to work. Other than that, people were having BlueStacks or Mimu emulators on their computers, sometimes even stacked on top of each other, especially for idle games. Or, for example, one of our team members was a huge fan of Azure Lane, and he played the shit out of Azure Lane, and he had like multiple windows open and just like multitasking shit. And that basically beats the purpose. Like, why create a competitive mobile game where everyone competing plays it on desktop on a desktop emulator with mouse and keyboard? Like, if you're getting shit on in PUBG Mobile, if the person is not a cheater, he's highly likely playing or on keyboard and mouse. So why downgrade the quality of the game to target mobile devices when everyone plays it on PC? No fucking sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, one of the reasons why I like mobile games is because they can be very good for like communities. Just like for a quick game, like for example, Smash Cards, you just jump in there with your peeps from your project, and you play a quick game and just have some fun. But I mean I love like Xbox gaming, PS5 type gaming, like console gaming, right? I just I've never been a desktop gamer because I never had like a gaming computer, but that definitely can change. But yeah, but I'm excited about your project, so I have to see, if I can download it on my Mac. But yeah, I'm just big on like
Definitely.
I'm big on having experiences with like Discord communities. You know what I'm saying? So I would like to see if I can implement. I would definitely want to implement Degenheim on like Discord community.
Yes. Actually, like what you can do is basically use the brand and create environments even for mobile to enjoy. For example, like the whole idle gaming part could be done from browser, from mobile, from desktop. Totally doable, right? We are also looking not to do it only for like Windows. As we're building it in Unity 3D, the possibilities of porting it to other devices is rather easy. So we actually want to release it on Windows, Mac, and Linux as well. And then we are also looking into cross-platform progression, so that like we want people on console to enjoy the game as well. However, it comes with some caveats because both consoles or all consoles are basically gate capped by their marketplaces and their owners, so it requires some amounts of bureaucracy and procedure. And yeah, so but we just recently found something that might allow us for cross-platform progression, but that is in an infant stage of development, so I don't want to make any fake promises, but there is something on the horizon that might solve this issue. However, regarding this, there was a remark from Sifterium, which is that mobile games are actually popular in C, where people cannot afford to buy a good PC. I definitely agree, and I am very well aware of that the mobile market is much, much bigger than PC and consoles combined. And I almost also very aware of some gaming and monetization caveats in the Oceanic region and Southeast Asia. So I am also aware of why this is happening. It is not only due to the fact of affording to buy a good PC, but it also happens to monetization because, for example, in some countries in Southeast Asia, not even Google or Apple have their licensing in place, so you actually have to monetize games through middlemen who give you vouchers in those regions, and that is one thing that also comes into account to this. But regarding affording a good PC, you can see the graphics in our game. Like, we're not going for a triple A graphic style of the game for multiple reasons. Not that we are not able to create them, but why would we? Right? We want the game to be accessible to everyone. I want the game to be played by kids from not so fortunate or not so wealthy families. Like, currently the game runs on a mid-tier 5-year-old rig, which was mid-tier 5 years ago, so currently is low tier as fuck, and the game is running at 100 to 130 FPS per second, right? So we want the game to be accessible. I want the game to be, because I don't want to end up as the new Battlefield, right? Like, we wanted to test the new Battlefield with the guys, and one of our friends was like, guys, I don't have that much money to buy a new GPU, so I will be skipping this one. And guess what happened? Like, yeah, dude, we want to play with you. So we stayed on Warzone, and we was like, fuck the Battlefield. Like, we don't want to go and leave you alone here. And I don't want this to happen. Like, I don't want to create a game that can only be played by the top 10%, top 10% of the wealthy players, right? I want it to be accessible for as many people as possible.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Yeah, I think that's a very important thing to do, because like personally, I'm an artist, so I have a bunch of like music artists. I got a bunch of stuff on my computer. I'm gonna have to upgrade my computer. It's so slow sometimes. So yeah, having a game that's just easy, like doesn't require a lot of power is good. One of my last questions is like, I don't know if you divulged that information yet, but is it going to be like a PFP collection to where you hook up to the website or something, and then it knows you have the NFT and now you're able to play, or is it just like accessible to everyone? Yeah.
Well, at first it's going to be PFPs due to the reason that PFPs are basically free marketing. When people rock your PFPs, it gives you exposure. But we look at it in a way that the PFP is basically a key. It's a token that allows you to have some access. But later on down the road, the game ought to be free to play to everyone, so that there is no high entrance fee to actually join the project, because we want to be very inclusive towards the public as well. But there will be a lot of different stuff happening there. Like, we intend to actually do some very interesting shit with the PFPs. Like, for example, you can see that you will be minting PFPs that are actually llamas. If you have seen the trailers, in the lore trailer you see humans, but once they pass the portal into Degenheim, they become llamas, right? And that will have a specific story to that. And what we actually want to do, and we actually wanted to, like, and you know why we created this? Just for a fucking plot twist. That, like, okay, we'll give you llamas, and what actually Bored Ape Yacht Club did with their serum and their mutant apes, right? We can do with the game. So, like, how about you run through the game to actually earn your NFTs to have a potion or serum or whatsoever that allows you to transform your NFT into its original state? And whether you sell these elixirs or you use them for your NFTs, totally up to you as well. So, like, everything in our universe tends to be as gamified as possible so that it's fun and enjoyable.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to play it. Hopefully we can try a demo one of these days.
Yep, I will be more than happy to see players flowing in and actually loving the game. Like, that will be, if that happens, that will be a very, very happy day for me.
Yeah, congratulations, man. Great game, concept, name, everything. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. Well, the team has been doing some tremendous work, so kudos to them.
Appreciate you, Capo. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Zero. Cool. Peace.
Hey, Shepard, go ahead and come off mute and go with your question. I know that you have some other prior engagements that you want to get to, but I know you had some questions that you wanted to get answers to, so come off mute and go for it. How you doing there, brother?
Hey, man, thank you for that. I appreciate you. And congrats on becoming advisor for Degenheim. It's very good
Yeah,
news.
it's I tell people this oftentimes that when you do advisory roles, sometimes you feel like you're doing them a favor and you feel like you're kind of like doing a lot of work for it. And like I'm doing a lot of work for Degenheim, but I feel like the favor is like they gave me the favor of asking me to be a part of the team, and so it's like that's why it's a special place in my heart, is because I really truly feel that is that like it's the honor's mine, and I'm not literally doing them a favor. It's like I feel like they did me a favor by letting me be a part of such an amazing project.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the future is a lot brighter with you on the team with Degen for Degenheim.
Hey, it's kind of like Voltron, you know? You have to have all the little members to form a beautiful thing, and that's what we have. Like we're talking about like it's not to overlook at any of the people, even the mods to the watchers to the community managers. We have Prime Time and Aline are in the chat, and OXAG. Like there's so many people that all like we have to all come together to form Degenheim, and if we're missing those links, it's not quite Degenheim. So I have to say that, and I appreciate your kind words, but I think that Milan is right there with me. That anytime it's said that hey you did this blah blah, like it's always like we did this, and it's and even not even just the team, the community as well. So I have to respond in a little bit of a long-winded way, but I feel very passionately about what's being created there.
Absolutely, and I have to agree on that because what the Degenheim team is doing for the community, it's very good, especially in these times where there's actually a lot of Degen projects taken over, and the ironic name Degenheim, it's like nowhere close to being Degen at all. It's like a project that offers utility and value.
It's the beauty
to
of
their
it.
players, to their users. Exactly. Yeah, I want to jump into the questions I had. Milan, I know we spoke in the past about like, the psychology of users, you know, engaged in the game and all that. So I know a few people asked similar questions, so they did answer that for me. I did want to get into more of the game aspect, like you know how Diablo has the ladder for hardcore players, and you know makes it a little harder for I guess people who can't keep up and play all day long. So they try to stay away from those hardcore killers. So do you have like is this something that can like will benefit those people who are like I guess afraid to join the PvP aspect of the game? Like, will they be able to advance and benefit from this as much as the people who are you know going to be killing people for more loot and armors and etc?
Well, yeah, I definitely remember you. Due to you using your photo and having the darkest voice in the space by far. But yeah. Well, imagine that. For example, like when I mentioned the deathmatch mode, those will probably be for the hardcore ladder players and people who are super competitive and want to like risk it all. But those will be only arranged fights. You can't happen to get into a deathmatch mode with anyone unless you willingly agree to it. Because I don't want to put people at risk that you, for example, should be afraid to play PvP because you will lose your shit. No. Like, during the casual and ranked PvP, that is like the season-based stuff, etc. Like, that stuff should be harmless. Like, okay, you might lose your rankings, etc., and so on, but you won't be losing your items, right? That will only happen in the deathmatch mode, and to enter that, you and me would have to come to an agreement that like Milan will fight Shepard, and on this day, that date, boom, we do that, right? So people shouldn't be afraid to actually engage in PvP, and if they are even afraid to engage in that, like there is the whole PvE experience that should be very pleasant and should offer you a very nice amount of playtime to actually enjoy yourself.
Got it. And hopefully we never see that day where Milan kills Shepard.
Depends if you challenge me. Like currently, I'm the undisputed developer. Like I have won every match in playtesting we actually did. So
wow.
I don't know. If you challenge me, we'll see where this goes.
I will not be challenging you. Don't worry. Milan. Well, I actually have one more question after that. Sorry, I'll keep it short. How many like you know from Diablo 1 with 3 original characters, Diablo 2 had 5, and then the expansion set had 7. You know, and ongoing. How many character classes, if you're able to give that information out?
None.
None. Okay.
None. We're trying to basically develop a system where there's a classless system that you basically like you choose your weapons, you choose your abilities, you choose your items, and off you go. Right? If you want to rock a huge cannon with a shooting rainbow spit, which is in the game. Whoops, spoiled it. Right? And shoot lightning tornadoes as your abilities and create a huge bone cage around yourself. Fuck yeah, do that. If you want a character which is dual wielding weapons and you have like a a frying pan with an egg in one hand and a huge axe in the second hand, and you want to be a hypermobile character that deals a lot of damage fast, but is super squishy, then I don't know, put in 3 mobility abilities that actually deal some damage and just like fucking dash around the fucking gameplays, right? Totally up to you.
Okay. So you did spill some more alpha. You have more than
we're trying to do something like this.
He spilled some alpha. You're not sure where the alpha's coming from, but it could be a partner project that has something to do with Godjira, but you never know.
Wink, wink, right?
A winking face emoji.
Awesome. My last question. Sorry about that. My last question, Milan. It's a personal question. If you're not playing a game right now, what game are you interested in? Like something new that's coming out? Like I just saw a trailer the other day for a game called Skull and Bones that's releasing in November. It looks pretty cool. I'm like, wow, I got to get this game. Any game you feel like that about?
Oh, dude, like my library is so full. Like I have so many games that have been sitting there for quite some time, which I haven't enjoyed yet due to the lack of time. And those will be probably the first ones I will go. So like I have Tomb Raider, I have God of War, I have the new Jedi game, which is like the Fallen Order. I think it is like that one I want to play. So like first I will tend to these, and then I will tend to the new ones probably.
Of course. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for having me up here. Just want to say, man, thank you, Milan, for what you're doing. Consider me a day one, even though I wasn't in the Discord since day one because of the people who snatched the codes up really quick. But I am a day one, brother. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. Like, thank you for being there. Like I have been noticing you, and I know you're showing up. So yes, thank you very much for being there.
I appreciate that, man. You guys have a great day.
You
Cheers.
as well. Thank you for stopping by. All right, D3PO, thank you for being patient, waiting up here and allowing Shepard to go so that he could get his questions in before he has to deal with his Web 2 responsibilities. How's it going?
It's going well, Zero, and congratulations on your affiliation and working with Degenheim. I think you chose a great project. I don't have the fortune of having been in Godjira, even though I've been in the space for a while. I consider it one of the top projects. Don't have the fortune of being in there, but glad to see you come over and work with such a strong team at Degenheim. What I wanted to ask you, Milan, and I've kind of bugged you before, but I always, when we talked last time, I always go back to Dark Alliance. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance was just such a fun game for me. It resonated with me on my Xbox. And I know that we may not necessarily have this massive multiplayer online type of mentality in Degenheim, but one of the things that I enjoyed about Baldur's Gate was just being able to play with one other friend, just doing that top-down dungeon crawler with one other friend. I don't mind the PvP aspect. I know we can fight, but is there any chance that we would be able to play through the PvE with one other person, not 100 people, but is that something that might be worked in at some point, or is that just something that would not be part of the game the way it's designed? Would we be able to play with a friend?
I have that definitely in mind. We will try to squeeze that in there as well because I love co-op games. And
me too, man.
Hopefully,
okay.
Hopefully we will make that work as well. However, there are some caveats to that too, because even in the PvE game, you have to introduce some proper scaling mechanisms for multiple players, right? Because you have to do it in such a way that the game isn't too hard or too easy, right? And like once you introduce a new player, like a game that is perfectly balanced about a lot of items, abilities, etc., regarding one player, suddenly when you have two of them, you have to consider like, okay, do I up the Do I up the HP? Do I up the damage? Up this, up that, right? And you have to carefully balance and test that through, and that like creates a lot of overhead to that as well. So first and foremost, we will create an experience that is very single player ish, but I would definitely also like to see this in there as well. However, it comes with a certain toll.
You're right. I was just thinking about that because when we played Valheim, it was very fun to play bosses, but then you'd want to get like 5 or 6 people in there, and all of a sudden the boss would become astronomically harder, as maybe it should be. And so I remember thinking we like fighting one boss with 5 of us. It seemed like it took us an hour to beat him, whereas when I went and fought him, like people would brag about how they fought the boss by themselves. And I remember thinking, dude, fighting the boss by yourself is so much easier. Go fight him with 5 of your friends when everything scales up with the enemies and the boss's hit points and the boss's attack. It actually made it a lot harder. So I didn't think about that. That's a really good point.
Like the huge aspect of success of Valheim was actually the playing with your friends aspect. Like,
dude, it was so good. So good.
Dude, I remember the craze because, like, for example, when Valheim became popular, our whole office, like the whole fucking studio, like imagine a room of mostly grown men and maybe like 2 women, and most of them are like 25 to 36 to 40 years old, and they were just like, we're sitting in the office and we're like, yeah guys, I gotta hit the gym, like are we going to play Valheim, and yeah, and imagine like people were just grouping up, right? And that was probably the prime mover of the thing that nobody was actually playing Valheim alone. Everyone was playing that with each other.
And you'll know this, and Zero know this. Tell me the first time you got on your boat, how proud you were to bring your friend on your boat, and that music would kick in, and you felt like a Viking. You're like, dude, I'm out there. If this boat hits a wave wrong, I'm breaking. If this sea serpent gets me, I'm breaking. I'm going down. But it felt so real. I felt like a Viking. I was like, yes. Dude, it was so cool. I love that game.
Stand fast. Where you grab the actual like the. What am I called? The sail, like the mast of the sail. Stand fast.
Yeah.
Me, it's not to go too deep into this, but and I'm 35, and this game came out like a year and a half ago or something.
Year ago, yeah. I'm 46. I'm with you,
dude. Me and my group of mid-30s friends. Okay, we have pictures, screenshots. When you take a screenshot when you're in game, in my honest opinion, that's a big deal because like I don't do that very often. I did it in WoW when I got my first mount, or when we defeated certain first bosses because we knew WoW was big, and I have screenshots from that. But like Valheim, I will never forget when we built one of the big boats, the iron boats, and we're sailing to go kill Bone Mass. And we all arrived there in the middle of the night. Like, we all arrived there. We got off our boat. Oh, blah, blah, blah. You got the wood. You got this. Okay, everyone, you 2 people, go farm wood. We need wood. We're building it. We had to build a portal room and all that stuff so people can get to and from. And, like, we were all in it, and we were just dying. And people were like, keep aggro on Bone Mass. Because, like, Bone Mass was, like, such a problem for us. Like, people were dying left and right, and it was, like, awful. Like, we like 5, 6, 7 deaths happening. But it wasn't even about that. It wasn't about doing proper mechanics. It was about like us together as working as a team in Discord, just like freaking out and being like, oh my God. And then when we killed them, we're like standing there taking pictures. And like, I was sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, it's been like 10, 15 years since I took screenshots in game, and I was like proud. And we have friends that have like areas, different little camps that we have portals. We have a main castle with a portal room that goes to everybody's little personal, place, and everyone's working on different architecture.
Same here, dude.
Dude,
Same here.
That shit's sick, man. I'm right there with you, dude. Like I said, it's like, I don't care how old I am. I'm gonna continue gaming. My girlfriend is just like, she'll sometimes like video me, like a little Snapchat for her friends or whatever, and will video me like how I act, like when I'm on. Oh, also another one is Sea of Thieves that we really like went really hard on too. And we had so much fun. And I'd be like, oh my God, the water's coming in. We need boards. Cannonballs. And she's just sitting there like recording me like, dude, do you have any idea how absurd you sound right now?
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, dude. My exes were doing that as well. It was like they were having like videos of me playing Warzone, and it's like sniper down here, like, and they were like, what amazing navigational skills you fucking have. You can like in in a split second you can fucking identify where anyone is in, and like also the action, and like especially when we were losing, like three grown men basically like just cursing. Like I have one friend, and I quite tend to be a rager as well sometimes, but one friend of mine, like he was farming the Damascus camouflage on Warzone, which is like all you have to have all the achievements and camouflages that there are. And he just like he's such a super rager, and you can like just hear him slamming the table and just screaming, etc. And he just basically gave us a summary that like achieving this cost me one keyboard, two mice, one table,
amazing.
and a piece of my wall. And I was like, dude, you're fucking crazy. And when you and when you get this footage from like being recorded by your girlfriend, like it seems even more insane, right? Like she just told us like, you three are fucking weird. Like I never have seen anyone being so mad about a PC game. Are you all right? And I'm like, of course we are. It's passion.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
definitely passion. And I'm with y'all, Zero. We would be so proud. We'd be so proud when we built a bunkhouse and you'd invite people to your world and they portal in. You like, here's where everybody has a bed. We'd all have a bed to sleep before we go out on our mission together. So yeah, we had a blast on Valheim, and I had the rage problem too. I had to stop playing Arena because of that. I broke too many little $200 PCs playing Magic the Gathering Arena because I felt like I was getting made fun of somewhere in a dark hole every time somebody beat me in Magic. I
You're
did
a
not
true
do well
gamer,
with that
brother.
game.
A true degen gamer
True game.
has spoken right there. And one thing I will say is, you'll probably resonate well with this, is just try to find out which member of your friends is AFK on the Valheim server that won't sleep, so that we could get to fucking the sun to come back
Yes.
up.
Yes.
We're like tagging.
It's the same thing, dude.
We have
like, who's not sleeping? Get in your bed.
yeah, we'd tag people Discording, and we'd have phone numbers, and we'd be like calling people and stuff like that. And like another funny thing is like I'll kind of come off this because we're obviously derailing, but it's a fun thing. It just shows you like
sorry.
no. This is the thing that we need more in this space. People who are running projects who know like are real gamers and truly love what they're doing. This is what the team's made up of, people like us. And I feel like it's important for people to know that we're not out here trying to make a buck. Like, come at us about a game. Oh yeah, we played it. You come up here to Valheim. I got stories. I got pictures. In my real life Discord. We have about 15 to 20 friends that were like saved us during COVID. Honestly, Valheim saved us during COVID. Quite frankly, we played it so
Same
much
here.
during
That's
the
when we. Same
pandemic.
here.
And
Yep.
we have a
Same here.
channel inside our server for Valheim where we post pictures of like, oh, look at this architecture that we did, and look at this thing that we did, and like so much work went into like, hey, you're building the docks, and hey, you're building like the trophy hall,
Yep.
and you're building the storeroom, and hey, oh, who ate all the mud pies? Who the fuck ate all the blood pies? Like who did it? Who did it? Who didn't replace them? You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like people like grabbing food and just going out on an adventure and not replacing it, and then we're trying to like, it's so funny. Oh, who's got the healing potions? Where's my frost cape? Like I can't go into the
Like
mountains
you and
without
I
it.
literally, I'm telling you, Zero, identical. Like seriously, like it's like I'm hearing a mirror of myself. This is the same thing I went through during COVID. Valheim saved me. Same channel in our Discord and same behaviors. But I'm going to move into the next thing. Real quick question, because you and I will sit there forever. The only other thing I wanted to ask you, and I'll make it fast, Milan, was as far as, and you have to forgive me for my ignorance about gaming, but when we interact with a game, will it be something where I go to a website and I'm streaming and playing that way, or would it be something where we would have a application that's downloaded on our computer where we just pick it up when we want to play? Does that make sense?
Definitely a downloadable application, because that is the best way to actually utilize your hardware. Like
that's what I thought. That's what I was asking, because I'm kind of busted with my computer sometimes.
You have certain bottlenecks when you do browser-based gaming, and browser-based gaming isn't at the stage I would like it to become our main platform. So yeah, and like what's the difference between like having a Steam client, like look at Sandbox. Like even Sandbox is a downloadable client that is direct to consumer, right? And obviously the space is okay with doing that. So why not do this so you can leverage the actual hardware and the technology you have the most? Like why would you downgrade your game that much just only to fit it into the browser, right?
Perfect. That's what I was hoping. Yeah, that makes complete sense.
And like, thanks for that question though, because like, like when you're like, oh, pardon my ignorance, like most people don't understand that stuff. Like the majority of gamers who have even been gaming their whole life, like we've been gaming our whole lives, we don't understand that stuff. And I love when people come up here to ask those questions, because some people are like, oh, this is a stupid question. I don't want to ask it. Like, I hate that. Like, I hate that, like, stigma that, like, people feel like they'll get made fun of or look stupid. Like, no, I'm, like, actually, like, applauding you for coming up and asking that question. And guess what? It's not even a stupid question. So,
Well, thank you. I got all the dumb questions for you. I'm a lawyer who's been a gamer my whole life, but like a fun gamer, never had the intelligence like you guys do. So it's been really cool to learn from y'all. And I'm going to give you two. I'm going to give you a game and you a game, Milan. Zero, if you've been playing, if you like to play with your friends, you like Valheim, if you like indie games, look up Project Zomboid. If you have ever played any
okay.
kind of zombie game, zombie
Hell yeah.
apocalypse, you play with your friends. You get out of the city, you get in your car, you find a place to fish, you find a generator. When the power, they give you like 2 weeks before the power goes out. Then you got to boil water, you got to find stuff, but it's like it's not fancy graphics, not nearly like Valheim, but it's
Right.
like I call it indie. And I could use the wrong word, but look up Project Zomboid and then Milan. When you play Fallen Order, play it. When you go in, put it on Jedi Master. Okay, you can always turn it down. You can always turn it down at any point, but put it on Jedi Master, and you'll have one of the most difficult gaming experiences you've ever had because it actually focuses on timing, on reaction time. So you'll have, and when you're talking about blocking like blaster bolts, it'll give you a very like perfect system where it will be very unforgiving. You'll have like milliseconds. So it makes it very hard on you to do that. And it makes it where every boss, right? Every single creature that comes out of the ground, the littlest creature can kill you if you're off your game. And you can always turn it down, but try it at the hardest level. You'll have an experience like you've never had before.
Dude, like I've been a hardcore gamer since the dawn of time. Like I went through Witcher on Death March. I used to play Call of Duty on Veteran.
Yes, me
Even like
too.
I don't know if you're old enough or have the luxury of trying Jedi Knight Jedi Academy on
Of
Jedi
course, I'm
Master, but
46. I'm with you. Yes.
yeah, yeah, dude, I was destroying people on multiplayer Jedi Academy with the heavy style single sword, right? I
Mhm.
I went through the single player game multiple times on the hardest difficulties playing, and I did even the challenges for myself, like let's go through lightsaber only. Let's not utilize any weapons. Let's not use this OP force powers or whatsoever. So like I'm very used to the challenge.
We'll try it. I'll be honest with you. I could do Jedi Master until the final two bosses, and then I'll be honest with you, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do Jedi Master on the final two bosses. But it makes the experience amazing. Makes you kind of on your toes because any little guy that you've killed 100 times may kill you in one battle. But just be smart about your saves and stuff. And you can always turn it down, but it'll give you a very pleasant
Yeah,
hardcore experience. I
like
feel like you get your money's worth, right? Get your money's worth out
yeah,
of it if you're gonna play it.
just I don't know. Have you ever played Hades? I know I mentioned it a lot.
Yeah, that's when I first talked to you about it. You made me go back and look at it. Yes, I have. And that's the same way I look at Hades and I look at Diablos. That's why we play
Yeah,
the hell levels, right? Just get it up there hard.
like what was your maximum heat level you went through the game?
Oh wait, no, Hades I've only looked at since you taught me about it. I haven't played I went back and
Oh,
looked into
okay.
Hades after you told me
Well,
about it, but I haven't
try
been able to play it yet.
well try to get to the late game and then try to up the
Okay.
Pact of Punishment up to like the maximum heat is I think 50, but the maximum
Okay.
heat that actually grants you any rewards is 32. And I just like I went through it like dude, like that game was so fucking hard. Like, and I tried going beyond that up to like 40 heat. And that game is a very, very different game once you go past this threshold. Like the game is insanely hard. Like suddenly like because like the Pact of Punishment, what it does is actually like you put in multipliers and new game mechanics to make the game harder. Not just by like you put it on a higher difficulty, but you can like tweak it. Like your enemies spawn in have 15% more health. They deal 80% more damage. Their attack and movement speed is 40% faster. And suddenly you see a very different game when everything is lightning fast, shooting twice as fast, moving around like fucking Sonic the Hedgehog, and you have a very different game experience. So like if you're into some hardcore challenges, go try that. You will have a great time. And that
I'm
is like
literally
and dude, like going beyond that, going beyond 32 heat, that is going to be just purely atrocious.
I'm literally texting my friends right now, like, should we play Hades? I keep hearing about it. I'm looking at it. Can we play it together? So I'm going to kick me out here to Zero. I really like you. It's nice to meet you. I'm glad you're on the team. Milan already knows how I feel about him. But, like, so cool to get to vibe with you guys beyond just talking about Degenheim. And I look forward to seeing you again, Zero. And Milan, I know I'll run into you again.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
This won't be the last time we'll nerd out about some games, so the pleasure is definitely all Degenheim, like all
Definitely.
me and Milan's, but we're definitely gonna have to slide into VCs and just like hang out and talk, because like this is why I love Degenheim AMA so much. It's like we're hanging out and just like having fun, and it's not just about like, oh, let me see if I want to mint this project. It's like not like that. It's like you're becoming bullish but also just like loving the vibe, and this is the kind of thing we're trying to create here, and we've been put very special like focus on making sure that this is something different and something special, and like, you know, like we have a longer road than we did if we would have launched sometime in December or January, and we're okay with the challenge. We're okay with creating this family community vibe and going out there and talking for hours and hours. We're over 3 hours right now. I mean, like I told you guys, like when I announced the AMA, Milan is the only the person besides Shan that I feel like could just literally talk until like their jaw just falls off, and here we are. And it's just a testament to the team, honestly. Like Milan wants to make sure everyone gets all of their answers to all of their questions, and so we're gonna stick around. But Milan, if you have to go, please feel free to let me know, and we'll wrap it up. We had over 25 people raise their hands. We're down to 5, and we've got 2 people up on stage right now. So if you want to make these 2 the last ones, and then we'll wrap it up, or it's up
Yeah,
to you.
yeah, probably,
Okay.
yes.
To any of the
Just due to the fact that
yeah.
just due to the fact that I have some other appointments I have to go to, which is sad because like I would love to everyone get their questions answered, but
This is the
if
beginning of lots of
anyone like
AMAs coming up.
yeah, but if anyone doesn't get the chance to ask their questions, like feel free to reach out to me by any means necessary, like whether it's in here in the voice chat, or I don't know whether you joined our server through the links that the team has posted.
Hey, drop in another one just
Definitely
in
zero.
case anyone missed
Yeah,
out.
definitely Zero Cool will hook you up. Feel free to like there. We have a specific channel for this that is like Ask the Founder, and you can basically ask anything in there, and I will do my best to answer that to the best of my abilities.
And it's the first server I've ever been in that has an Ask the Founders where the founder actually responds. So, hey, D3PO, thank you
Yeah.
so much, man. I really appreciate you. Thank you, everybody that's out here that's been around this long. I saw a couple people in chat being like, this is the first time I've ever been at an AMA for this long, and I don't want to leave, you know? And that's the kind of thing we're trying to achieve here, and not be boring and really be very educational and, you know, blow your socks off, because I'm getting my socks blown off every single time, but I need to shut the hell up because I'll just make this even longer. Tinder Master, you are next up here. Appreciate you so much for coming up. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for your patience. And how's your day going?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yup.
Great. Thanks for bringing me up. So I'm just gonna keep this short and sweet. So I want to ask about like, will there be any skins or cosmetics that the players can change, or are the loots, you know, since it's like a dungeon style kind of game, are the loots gonna be tradable on secondary market?
Absolutely. Currently, like we want the items to actually have some impact on your character. So currently we are playing with the model that all the items aren't purely cosmetic, but we are also considering this model. We want to play test both options later down the road with actual players and see what they like the most. But yeah, they definitely will be tradable, because like that is the whole point of actually hooking NFTs up with a gaming project, that you actually have proper and full digital ownership above your items. So like if you want to trade it on OpenSea or whatever fucking other marketplace, go on, totally up to you.
That's awesome. Okay, and last question is, since it's, you know, down the line, since it's gonna be like a free to play game, what's the advantage of me minting the NFTs like on launch versus like getting the NFT down the line?
Well, answered this quite a few times, but as I mentioned, we want to provide value, or as much value as possible, to those who support us. Hence why people minting the NFT will be receiving multiplicative value later down the road. Because I just like imagine, the others probably already heard it. You mint an NFT, and then you get dropped a chest, for example, that is relevant or tied to the rarity of your NFT. The rarer your NFT, the rarer the chest, the rarity, and the higher the possibility of you getting more items out of the chest of higher rarity. Suddenly, you have multiplicative value of your NFTs because your NFT turned out into multiple. Also, through the game, you will be able to unlock new NFTs, even transform your NFT to another NFT, which basically is additive value. And if you multiply this by a multitude of NFTs, suddenly you get exponential growth in value in the amount of NFTs, and possibly also in the monetary aspect of them as well.
Awesome. Thanks for answering my question. That's all. Yeah.
Absolutely no problem. Happy to have it.
Thank you so much, Tinder Master. Appreciate you coming up here and asking a question, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Blue T, you are next in line, and you are the last one, so let's make sure it's a banger.
Oh, ho, ho. Okay, I try my best. Thank you for bringing me up. I have maybe two questions or maybe a concern. As I'm in multiple communities and in the NFT space, and I'm a true gamer. Always been. I'm in love with gaming and with the whole Degenheim project and the outlook for it. But if I look around, there are not that many people in the NFT space, especially right now, that are really into gaming and into NFT gaming per se. How do you guys feel about getting the players in the first place and transform those that maybe mint or grind in the Discord or whatever to really play the game, and then further down the road attract gamers from the mainstream, from the broader mass, to play a NFT game and not Diablo or anything else?
The same way you attract the players playing Web 2.0 games, like using proper user acquisition procedures and tactics, and utilizing people who are world-renowned experts at this. Because, like, obviously, there's no difference in attracting people from the Web 2.0 space and Web 3.0, but there are some differences, right? But at the end of the day, both groups are people, and both groups are gamers, or are kind of gamers, let's say, and you attract them the same way, right? So it should be a game that you actually can play and enjoy, right? Like, what makes you play Clash of Clans? You actually enjoying the game, right? So it's the same for this one, but just on top of it, you have the value proposition that you don't have to be like only spending money inside and losing it. You can actually make money back from the game, right? Which is a very good motivation. And everyone looking for an alternative, right? Because if you have played through all of these games, you don't even have to necessarily compete with them, because I know if someone is a hardcore gamer and loves a genre, I know people who are also playing Diablo and are also playing Path of Exile and are also playing Warzone and whatsoever, right? So this way, by actually utilizing concepts that to this day are proving to work very successfully from the Web 2.0 space to acquire players. Like, we don't only look towards the already existing Web 3.0 space, but we are also looking of how do we actually make people realize the magnitude and the possibilities of the Web 3.0 gaming space, right? And you should actually create a baseline of a game. Like our game should be perfectly functional as a Web 2.0 game too. Hence, why it should be very appealing also for purely Web 2.0 gamers. And the whole Web 3.0 is just an extension of the technological means that the game offers. And that actually creates a very competitive value proposition, because we will offer something other games similar to ours won't.
Right. Completely understandable, 100%. But as you mentioned earlier that you want to be purely on desktop and not on mobile, and even go into competitive in the longer run, that's very niche.
And console
right?
too.
On console too. Okay, that's part of the question, because that would be very niche. And if we look at games in Web 2, right? Most of the more successful games are from established studios and developers, right? And all those that are successful without a big studio are mostly on mobile, I feel like.
No, not really.
Not really?
Ever heard of Minecraft?
Right. Mine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. True. True. But for example, all those we talk about, like Diablo, Path of Exile, Warzone, whatever. Like those are
Well,
all.
but you want to use these because these are the most and best known examples. Like I can use like Binding of Isaac and stuff like that, and that is a great game as well. But do you know it?
No, and that's my concern, right?
Yeah, but it's still a game that made a shit ton of money, right? Like you don't have to be a AAA game studio and create a big ass AAA game to actually make a lot of money. If you look at the revenue generated, like even Hades is a game that has won awards, a game that has been king of its genre for quite some time, and it was made by an indie studio on a minuscule budget, and this was, I think, by their own words, inside some article I read or some interview I have heard. I think, right? And they still made millions of dollars just purely on sales of the game. No live ops, no in-game purchases, no nothing like this that would continue the life cycle of the game to this day, right? And they still made a shit ton of money. Like people think that only big players can make great games, but actually, if people look closely at the gaming space, even years ago, you could see the rise of smaller studios actually creating very interesting games. For example, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, super triple A fucking graphics. However, a small studio. And they even pride themselves that they are creating a remarkable game that has amazing visuals while not having a triple A price tag and not having a triple A studio, right? Actually, there have been a lot of very, very successful games that were created by very small studios. Like Minecraft is probably the best example. Like originally, Minecraft was created by one guy, then he was joined by some other guy, and I think then they expanded on it and sold it. And currently, the guy is fucking living next to Jay-Z and Beyonce within a huge villa in Beverly Hills, I think, or wherever, right? And it began with a one-man army project.
Perfect. Great answers, I feel like. Great answers. Makes me even more convinced into Degenheim. And my last question, where's the name Degenheim coming from?
Oof.
Because I'm in the project for, I don't know, 2 months now, and I'm daily in there, and I have no idea what Degenheim, what's the name.
Yeah, the very true story. Shout out to our advisor Miso. He actually thought about we are toying with we had some. We even hid the project behind some working names in case anything leaked or whatsoever. Like we did a lot of precautions not to leak the name, but the original the name, the finalized name of Degenheim actually came to fruition when our advisor Miso, he was at the barbers and he was just thinking around, and he suddenly came up with like, Degenheim sounds like very like a better name than the working names we are hiding the project behind currently. And we were like, fuck yeah, that's a great idea, and that's it. So he was getting his haircut and actually came to the idea of naming the project.
Like the best ideas always comes in the weirdest situations, right?
Yeah, absolutely. like a lot of ideas that are currently inside the project came in very randomly. For example, like the 3310 Nokia hammer that we posted on Twitter, like that was a super random idea of like, hey, how about we do this, and we're just like, yeah, boom, and it's there.
Nice, awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the questions and answers and the stories, and thank you for another very great AMA.
Thank you very much. Lovely to hear like getting good questions asked. I'm very, very appreciative of that.
Quite.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day. It's kind of crazy. We're almost at 3.5 hours long. My recording tells me, and we still have we had 90 people just a little bit ago, and that's how many people have actually stuck around. So thank you guys for sticking around for this entire thing. I think 3 or 4 people were given Jira token for coming by and vibing in chat and asking questions. I think we even gave out more Degen lists than we thought, because so many people came in and were asking really great questions and just like overall just vibing. And that's kind of what we're all about. It's like you come in and you're a gamer, or even if you're not a gamer and you come in and you kind of buy into what we're doing, we're building up this family vibe and all of this good stuff. And you're just a part of it, and we're gonna reward people. Like Milan said, like fuck the grind meta. We're completely like over that. We're completely against that. We want to make sure people who have a general interest in buying into what we're doing are going to be a part of it for the long run. So I appreciate everyone so much. If you guys came late, thank you. If you came early and you missed something, I'm going to put this on YouTube or record it. I will drop the MP3 file in the Degenheim server as well as in the Godjira server. So if you're just like hanging out, working out, or you have 3.5 hours where you have nothing to do, you could give it a listen. So thank you guys once again. It's so funny. It's like I'm always just like, man, we're gonna make sure this one's like way shorter. But if people have questions, we even didn't get through all of them. I've never seen 30 hands raised before until this one came by, and we peaked over like 215 people inside the crowd here. So thank you all so much. I appreciate you guys coming by. If you're here in the Jira server, you definitely are getting special privileges as far as Degenheim because we are in a full Degenship, also known as a partnership. And so there are going to be privileges. There's going to be OG spots on the marketplace as well as regular Degen list spots will be coming on the marketplace. And more invite links and all that good stuff here for the Jira fam. And yeah, like I just can't reiterate it enough. Thank you guys so much for coming out and spending a good portion of your day with us. And yeah, hop into the server, and if you're tag me right now if you still are not in the server. 'Cause I want to make sure everyone that came here and stayed got a link and all that good stuff. And if you did and you didn't and you had some questions later on or were too scared to come up and ask the questions, please, I implore you to come to the Degenheim server and go into the Ask the Founders chat, or even ask it in the general chat, which we call Degeneral, and just asking it there. People are vibing and happy to help out. Hop into a VC, come play some video games. We have tons of activities that are led by Aline, the event queen, as we call her. She will get to know her. If you spend 10 minutes in the server, you'll know who Aline is. We have an amazing staff there with Angel, Primetime, AG, like ASO, like just so many names. G is in there. Awin from G and Awin from the core team of Godjira are over there. It's a completely stacked team from the community to the founder. I feel like we're all goats. We're all hidden goats in this space, and we're on an amazing journey. And fuck the bear market. Don't think about that kind of stuff. We don't ever think about that. We're just building and we're doing things properly, and that's what is the most important thing. So, any last remarks, Milan? If not, then we can close this sucker up.
Yeah. Well, if anyone got their questions not answered or didn't get a chance to ask them, like feel free to reach out. I already mentioned that. But first and foremost, I really appreciate all of you taking up your time to listen to what we got to say. Like I know that like 3.5 hours is a lot of time. Really appreciate you. Also really appreciate the questions, especially those very thought out and like showing that people have genuine interest. It's really heartwarming to see such a great response to what we've been doing. Love you for that. Thank you very much for having us.
Without further ado, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you so much, Milan. Everyone appreciates the hell out of you coming out here, and literally, most people are like, "Hey, we got an hour." Like I have AMAs like, "Yo, we got an hour," and that's it, and like cap it, and they're like, people are like, "Okay, like I still have questions or whatever," and this one we went 3.5 hours before we decided to cap it. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
For that.
Sadly, I have to go. Otherwise, I would want to answer anyone's questions. But yeah, feel free to reach out. We'll do my best to answer them as well.
Absolutely. Thank you all, and take care. Have a good rest of your evening, morning, afternoon, whatever part of the day it is. Have a good sleep. Have a good whatever. We love you guys so much, and we'll talk soon. All right.